Welcome to Auto Club Speedway here today for the Amazon Warehouse 400. They decided to call it this because the track is so dang big. This track is no longer going to be in the NASCAR lineup anymore. I think right now they're trying to turn it into a really short track. But I'm joined by Matt Metler. He will be co-commentating with me like he was last time. You see drivers are hopping on the grid right now. This is a 31 car field, so pretty big. I think it's maybe just a tad smaller than last time, but it's still a very good size for sure.
Yeah, great size lineup here tonight, Bryce, as you mentioned. Looks like we got 31 haulers in the infield as these cars line up at the last great house that Penske built. Opened its doors in 1997, but like you mentioned, this place is going to look a lot different when it comes back into competition. The good news is it still lives on here in iRacing, as that field now gets ready to roll off behind that iRacing.com pace car.
Would pull up the starting grid, but the grid has already been set, so we'll just kind of have to go off of, let me see what it shows me. Oh, it does show me that. We'll just use this grid here. So first is Bobby Anderson, second, Matt DeCiani, third, Adam Benefiel, fourth, Patrick Gitter, fifth, Johnny Avila, sixth, Bryson Hicksenbog, seventh, Derek Heitman, eighth, Robert Miller, ninth, Clayton Hoffman, 10th, Ralph Hutchinson, 11th, Cameron Stone, 12th, Jim Schofield, 13th will be Lucas Hoetzema, 14th, Matt Long, 15th, Jamie Off, I'm not sure how to say that name, 16th, Jason Taylor, 17th, Daniel Simmons, 18th, Brandon Hastings, 19th, Ben Tracy, 20th, Sean O'Brien, 21st, Jacob Simpson, 22nd, Jolene Sims, 23rd, Ryan Strunk, 24th, Ryan Jones, 25th, Charles Eden, 26th, Stephen Williams, 27th, Kevin. That's a weird.
Sozak?
Yeah, Sozak. 28th, Isaac Singleton. 29th, Danilo Colio? I'm going to say that. Neil Pearson is 30th, and 31st is Dustin Hall. You see with Team Conti right there. But it's going to be 200 laps here at this track. Very long race for sure.
As this field gets racked and stacked for 200 scheduled laps here. You mentioned this track is long and it is wide, 3-4 lanes wide at times as that iRacing.com pace car pulls down pit road as Bobby Anderson awaits the green flag. In the air, we're going to stand on it. Green flag here in California, and Bryce, 200 laps. Here we go. Reach up, pull those belts tight one more time, my friend.
You may see these paints going white for a little bit. They'll pop in with the paint schemes. I forgot to hit refresh before that, but it looks like Bobby Anderson's going to try to edge out on the corner. One thing about this track, though, it's surprisingly a pretty big draft track just because of how long it is. They do run, I think, the higher horsepower, but it's just so aerodynamic that you're really flat out through a lot of this track. But you see a lot of these Team Conti drivers up here, and Matt will take the lead pretty easily. Bobby will fall maybe 2 more positions if he can not get to that outside, but running this track, you're flat out most of the time. You're kind of skating somewhat on top of it, but it definitely is a really fast track. It kind of runs like a super speedway to a certain extent because the area is a big factor. So you're going to see drivers that are going to be tucking in behind each other. Somebody is way up the track. I don't know who that is. They just blew that corner. That was like the 41 of Jason Taylor.
Yeah, Jason Taylor, don't think those tires just had enough heat in them, and you're right. He went to turn, and that car went straight. But the beauty of this racetrack, he had a lot of runoff there to catch that race car. And Bryce, he is still going way up the hill. Perhaps he knows something here that we don't hear in the short going, because while he is way out of the groove, that car is really boogieing down these straightaways.
I mean, early on, I could think that maybe the tires just have a little bit more grip, but you're going to probably burn them up doing that. But I mean, you can get away with it right now, but I think late in the run, you're going to kind of pay the price because it's going to really cook that right front. But he's going to get an absolutely massive run down the backstretch because of that. Yeah, he's going to pass. He's up 13 positions from where he started, so have to see if that does work. And he may, who knows, he might have it set up to do this. But he's running 41.36 right now. That's 4 to 5 tenths faster than everybody else on the track right now with his lap times.
Yeah, blistering lap time. I had to blink my eyes and factor in for SDK as he just went fast lap again of 41.30. As Taylor keeps picking him off and laying him down, going up there to the nosebleeds as he is going for the lead. It's going to be a John 4 special off the corner as we go on board with Taylor.
This guy is absolutely just rolling it pretty much, and he's going to get easily past Matt there. Matt's really not going to be able to put up a fight. I want to see if this 41 can continue to roll like this, though, or the car is going to fall off, because you got fresh tires. Fresh tires make you feel absolutely amazing, but some people will go and flat out just abuse them more than anything else. So he's got to keep that in mind. As it looks like a little bit in the back of the pack, kind of got some guys battling for position. We almost have a 3 wide around, I believe that's Jamie for a moment. They were almost 3 wide with Chuck. That's not what you want to do, is get it right next to somebody's quarter panel. Ryan Strunk almost clipped the 11 in the rear, and that could have sent him around, but he luckily slows it down, and
Whoa.
There it goes. They're going to scatter behind him.
Yeah, that did take long, Bryce. In the words of Phil Collins, we can feel that one coming in the air tonight, and Ryan Strunk absolutely got yeeted there. It's going to be our first caution. No, we stay green out there on the racetrack, and that Camaro has a face full of damage, literally.
Trying to see if his toe's knocked out. I mean, it looks, I think his toe's knocked in just a little bit, because it does look like it's wanting to pull. See how it really handles going down in the corner and trying to just, I don't have the wheel in my hand, but yeah, it looks like it's hurt, because now it's wanting to get loose in the corner. So he's damaged that toe pretty badly on it, which I'm not surprised. He did hit it decently hard, but Bobby qualified on the pole. He is all the way back in 30th now, so he has dropped incredibly fast since the start of the green flag. But Jason's facing maybe a little bit of a battle from Matt, because Matt looks like he's running him down a little bit, but this is what Auto Club is everybody is lined up behind each other now. Nobody's really poking their nose out, trying to do anything against the guy in front of them.
Yeah, especially after we just seen with that big hornet's nest there, the first action popped off, and it's almost like everyone got a reminder of, while it's fun and exciting, it can go wrong quick, fast, in a hurry. And side by side, we have Hutchinson peeking on the bottom, going up to 28, up against the 28 of Matty Long. This just inside the top 10. Is the 92's now going to insert his car in the situation here as well.
92 is kind of the odd man out, but he does have the 63 kind of down there with him. I think just really the aero in these cars is going to end up being a big factor. This is probably one of the tracks I'm surprisingly actually good at. These tracks like Indy, Michigan I'm not too good at, but Auto Club, it seems like these tracks are the ones I'm surprisingly better at. You can really keep, it's really somewhat momentum based, but you do not want to be around somebody who's, or you want to be in the line that has the most people. You do not want to be trying to pass on your own. If you do, you have to get an absolutely massive run and try to get clear of him. As you see, the 63 still stuck down there. He's making it work somewhat, but he's got to get up behind this 92 here if he sees the gap behind him.
Yeah, Johnny Avella here, he's going to keep leading positions, to your point. He just does not have the numbers down there with him. And just as we say that, about 4 or 5 cars as they sweep through the corner all go down to the inside, but they're going to feed back up. And then, to your point, 63 is going to be stuck there, but at least he has Matty Long there with him. That'll certainly help. But the top lane, with all those cars, has the momentum, to your point you made earlier at the top of the broadcast.
While this was happening, Matt, however, he regained the lead. Taylor, I think he may have gotten loose up one corner. He may have just abused his tires so much. He's somewhat trying, mirror driving a little bit. You do not want to let him to their outside, and I think he's realized that. It's one thing. If you kind of keep the outside, if you keep control of that, you should be fine, but I think his tires might be a little bit hurt from doing what he did so early in the race. He keeps getting these massive runs. However, side drafting these cars is absolutely really strong, and I think that's what they're going to start doing to him now. Is the runs will cancel out eventually. He just doesn't have the freshness that he had before. He's actually been in the wall. I can see it on that right front now. He's scraped it a little bit. That may even there he goes.
The wall right
in it again. That might be why he's losing these positions right now. Is he's getting too high up to the wall and it's just scraping the tire rod off of it.
And he could have nuked that right rear as well. And that car just not wanting to rotate now as he hasn't abandoned that line. He's still way up there, which, I mean, got him 15, 16 spots in no time. But now he's going in the other direction. He is bleeding positions, now holding on to that 5th place position. In fact, he's now under siege from that 83 as he's got that car rotating really well, going to easily pass him as he's now hemorrhaging more positions, Bryce.
Yeah, he's going to lose more. He needs to get out of this top line. He's cooked the car up, and yeah, now he's stuck to the wall. He's just going to keep it up there. Oh, Lord, the 46 just ran right in the back of him. That's Isaac Singleton, and he has just destroyed that car, and there's no fast repairs. I don't know if... Well, he was also drafting behind. So, oh, there he goes. Puts somebody else in the wall behind him, and there's going to be the caution that's brought out. I was going to say, so people are wondering, oh, why didn't he just go away? I'm going to show you what he saw. Now, people probably did queue up on their radio and say car in the high line, but this is all that he could see in front of him right here. He had no idea that there was a car up in the high line unless somebody said something on the radio. He doesn't have any clue about this guy up there. And that breaks the toe. I mean, it's gone immediately from the start right there. You can see it's towed out. So he already can't turn. If he goes in the corner, probably hops on the brakes and it just plows. 97 gets put in the wall also. That's going to easily end his night right there.
You know, you kind of had a bad feeling in your stomach. We've seen this happen time and time again at a place like Auto Club Speedway, and it's just unfortunate. Wrong place at the right time. And a lot like plate racing, Bryce, you can't see, you know, 2 cars in front of you, let alone 3 or 4. And as we went on board there, he had no idea that car was off the pace until literally, you know, the last split second. No time to react. An unfortunate casualty is that throwback to Days of Thunder. ZL1 Camaro is absolutely obliterated as we now work our first caution on the evening as we write lap number 13 in the books.
See, yeah, they'll probably come down pit road. They have 11 sets of tires, so they got a lot of tires to use. Might as well use them right now. Maybe get some damage fixed. I know that 41 is going to be looking at his tire wear, see what it was, because he had dropped pretty quickly. He's actually already down pit road, I believe. Yeah, he's been in pit road for a while right now. If Matt can maintain his lead when he comes off pit road, that's one thing that he definitely wants to do. Don't want to have to work your way back through everything else. There'll definitely be 4 tires.
That turbulent air. Yeah, 4 tires and fuel as we watch Matt DeCiani complete service. You see Bobby Anderson there in the 18. He's going to hit his pit stall. Does Matt retain the lead? It looks like he will, just edging his teammate Patrick Gitter there in the 21. So Team Conti car is going to file off at pit road here. 1 and 2, or excuse me, Charles Eaton, I believe, is going to stay out and take over the lead, but you're going to have Matt DeCiani, Patrick Gitter, Robert Miller, and Caton Hoffman. That's going to be the top 5 as we now complete service, you know, on pit road, as all of these race cars now filing back onto the racing surface after a very chaotic opening few laps here. As Bryce, that got wild, hot, and heavy, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, I think Charles missed his pit stall because he just rolled through pit road. I don't think he meant to do that necessarily. We'll have to see if he comes down next time. So Matt may retain the lead. Yeah, I think he maybe didn't see. Yeah, I had a feeling that he missed it because I saw him roll through. He hadn't pitted at all yet. But what I was going to say earlier is there's something sent to us. Let me see what it was. So Bryson Hixenbog, he was a fixture in the 100% Cup Series for 3 years. He received a 1-year ban for intentional contact during the Busch Clash. He sat the whole season. It's his first race back with these drivers. He previously finished 3 straight years in the top 4, running for a championship in the final race every year. Nick Ottinger is a current spotter for the 91 of Brandon Hastings. Him and Conti sometimes both race. They are Coke Series drivers, if y'all did not know that. Conti Field's a team with Dustin Hall, Adam Benefiel. Both builders and team members are on Team Conti in the Coke Series, and Dustin Hall won the past 2 races at Auto Club, but I don't believe he made the race here. Yeah, there were some... Oh, he did make the race. He was at a wedding, but apparently that finished in time. And one thing, too, that these guys have to look out for is it is a very low incident race. This is a 13x at the max race. I think you get a penalty after that. No, that is a strict incident. That's disqualification, actually. So that's not a black flag. So these guys cannot be making contact, not getting 4Xs, which hopefully the system doesn't give them a 4X for a pebble hitting their car, as it does sometimes. As looks like pace car will pull in here as the green flag is in the air. We are back underway here now. These guys are just deciding to tuck in behind each other. Not surprising for me at all to see, as Kevin is out, Isaac Singleton is out. Those two got heavy damage. Taylor is also out too. I'm not sure why. It didn't seem like his damage was too bad that he got, unless he got disqualified. That's the only thing I can think of that could happen to him. Looks like that is that's the 67. Trying to get a nose on Derek, but he just cannot get close enough to him. It's on 67. Oh, it is. That's 57. Sorry. 57.
Yeah, I thought it was 67 at first, too. Throwing it back to Sterling Marling there in that dark horse. Really working the bottom of the racetrack. And again, on those fresher Goodyears, you can really make that lane work. But, you know, me personally, when I run this racetrack, I feel like you pay a penalty, especially if you run that lane consistently. And he is going up in a heavy battle here with Derek Heitman, another very formidable force over at Team Conti. And these two, no one is giving the other an inch. So they're still side by side, inches off as they fire down the backstretch.
These two are going to just race each other. Side draft will be a big factor here, but you see the 63s coming up on their rear end, so he might get a slide job in here. He's really the only way to pass here is to get a massive run and get towards the end of the straight and absolutely just sail it on in there and just keep your foot in it, slide up in front of them, and they're going to get back to your inside, but you just have to kind of hold your line there from that point.
Yeah, or at least to help you have some help or someone that comes down and gives you a hand. As we now go further back through the field, it's just inside the top 10 in that 8th place position. Here is Matty Long trying to get the job done. He's going to get a great run through the center of the corner, but that bottom lane, he has help there, and they're drafting right back on each other. Who is going to have the momentum here down the backstretch? The 76 really tucked in nice and strong behind the 28. That's going to give him the spot into the corner. Now Matty Long suddenly up 6 spots from where he started in that 8th place position.
These guys are just going to still race side by side, and somebody just blinked in and out. Now they're back. Who was that? That looks like that would have been Jamie. That was Jamie there for a second. I thought he hit the wall because his front end came off, but it was just a little bit of a connection issue from him. Robert Miller, however, is he's been in third pretty much the whole entire race here. He's not moved up or down. He started 8th and he's in third right now. So he's gained 5 positions. However, it seems like since the drop of the green flag, he's just been the 3rd car in line. He's not really moved up or down so far for him. So he's done a good job so far, even though we're only 21 laps into this 200 lap race right now at the moment.
Yeah, 21 laps into this 200 lap event here tonight. Oh, big time move there. There's Sims. Jolene, I mean, almost made contact there with the car in front of her. In fact, may have got a little piece with that dark horse, but she is now up 6 positions from where she started, just outside the top 15 in that 16th place position. A lot of cars fighting for track position, and this is where this air becomes turbulent. To your point earlier, Bryce, these drivers really got to be careful, because sometimes you go to turn it in the corner and you just don't have the downforce, and that's where a lot of these incidents can happen.
You see the 97 decided to actually shove her instead of pass her, because he would have just really stalled out there super quickly, which is probably the better move. These guys are extending their fuel mileage a little bit by driving like this also, because they're all lined up with each other. It's acting as kind of racing at Talladega or Daytona. You're probably gaining 4 to 5 laps at the most. That might be a little bit of a reach, but it is a big draft factor for sure. So you can extend your fuel a little bit more. I don't think the tire fall off will be too great at this track, just because of it being pretty flat overall, but we'll just have to see what their times look like as it goes on. They've not had a lot of green flag laps on them yet, only 10, and they've only lost about 5/10, which is not too much, not great though. It is a little bit more fall off than I thought they would have.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit of fall off. We'll continue to monitor that, but nonetheless, they are starting to drop those speeds down a little bit now, as it looks like Clayton Hoffman there in that 92 machine, starting to challenge for the position, starting to get racing back up here towards the front. Can anyone dethrone Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter, the 2 Team Conti drivers who continue to control this race?
Good to see how this goes. One thing though, if you get out ahead, you get out ahead. You just have to get out of their reach, which is 6/10 is when these cars seem to grab onto somebody arrow-wise, and anything more than 6/10, the draft is out of the question. So if Matt can get 6/10 ahead, he can be able to start to run away from them. It's just the question of, can he get far enough away from them to not have them be able to grab hold of him and draft off him.
I tell you right now, he's sure trying to put some separation between himself and the 21 of Patrick Gitter. And, you know, to Matt DeCiani, if you go into his box of tools, he is well known for being able to extend the life of those Goodyear Eagles and get some great long track performance out of those tires. Gonna have to see if that also plays into the equation here. But as of right now, the 21 and the rest of the top 5 have caught back up to the floor. In fact, here comes Miller peeking to the inside of Gitter, but Gitter slammed the door.
These guys are just gonna have to plan their moves. You just don't want to just throw it on in there and just Hail-Mel in it. And I think we saw that with Gitter. Gitter probably realized they can't get around him, and they're also both Team Conti drivers. That could be playing a big factor into it. But Miller is just still staying in third, just kind of keep in touch with them. They're starting to not thin out, kind of get a little bit more space between them at the moment. They're not all on top of each other, but Jamie is trying to hold this position right now. Jolene wants it, and I think Jolene might be able to get it if she can get back to the gas quick enough and get a big enough of a run. Unless Jamie slides up in front of her, Jamie will not be able to hold that position. Jolene will get that. Now Jamie's the odd person out. Now he's able to tuck back in line. So he's only going to lose 1 position from that. Luckily there was a gap behind Jolene that he could take.
Yeah, a lot of times in that position there, you let the first car by and you're going to lose 3 or 4 spots. But to your point, he had a gap where he could jump back up in line. Only lost 1 position there as Jolene continues to impress here as these laps continue to wind down. Now back to where she started, even with the board. Or excuse me, that's Jamie that's even with the board. Jolene still on the charge, up to 14th now, looking for more as she closes in on the back of Cameron Stone in that 57.
Pull up her lap times here. That's what we wanted. Let's see though. She's been. Looks like she's been pretty consistent, kind of hints off. She's not too off of being around the same lap times. I mean, you're going to have fall off. You just don't want it to be absolutely massive. But it looks like we got Matt still holding this line right here, and everybody else is just following him. Only real battles is really towards kind of, who's this cut off? 13th on back is where these guys are actually racing for position. Whoa, Jolene just got a big wiggle. He got 3 wide almost. Adam thought about it. He wanted to go 3 wide there for a minute. I don't think he was close enough to do anything. And he might have been downshifting there. I saw the rear end of that car wiggle. I actually want to see if he is. We're going to hop cockpit here. Yeah, he is downshifting because he'll easily max out if he doesn't shift. I think we saw that rear end kick out because he downshifted too quickly and the rear end just wanted to come around on him.
Yeah, that's a great catch there, Bryson. That's a telltale sign, especially in this next-gen car, that at the back of that race car will just want to step out. And we could see him upshift there at the start-finish line and absolutely using 4th and 5th gear here. As you can see him now almost redlining that engine at that 9,000 RPM before he goes ahead and shifts it into 5th gear, back down to 4th gear in the corner. You can see that car starting to get loose, feeding a lot of wheel input there. Back hard on the accelerator, 86, 87, 8,800 RPM, shifts it at the start-finish line. So these drivers not only getting a workout in the steering department, but really starting to use that shifter as well.
One thing that can help them too is when you downshift, you're using engine brakes. You're not actually having to use the actual brake in the car, but if you do it too quickly, it wants to wheel hop. The transmission it's not matching with the wheel speed. Luckily, these guys kind of blip the throttle and it gets it matched. But if you don't do that, I'm somebody who doesn't do that, which I need to learn how to drive with 2 feet to begin with. But if you don't match it, it can easily go around. It's more common on like short tracks like Richmond, Martinsville, road courses. That's where it's more emphasized if you don't shift correctly, because the rear end just kicks out because it's too much RPMs for the transmission and the wheels are not going that fast, so you have to match them. You do not just want to just slam it from 5th to 4th at all, because you'll go right around if you're too high of RPMs already.
In fact, that cost me a top 10 today at Richmond. I did exactly what you said. I missed the shift. I downshifted into 3rd gear when the RPMs just weren't there. The back of the car took off, put it in the fence, and cost myself a top 10 trying to get a little more out there on the racetrack. Continue to watch Jolene battle hard here in that 14th place position. It's really starting to get loose off of turn number 4 as they head down the front straightaway. But she's staying up in line. She has the draft on her side. And Neil Pearson in the 62, the modern-day Silver Fox, having a great run as well. And he seems to kind of be working with her, at least over the past 5 or so laps.
Yeah, really. Maybe just some... Well, never mind. I was going to say, maybe they're being nice, but they're going to go try to race each other now, as Jolene might lose this position. However, she has the 3rd line, and my sense of it, I'd rather be on the high line. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact there as she chases the car up the track. I don't know if there was a little bit of contact there. It may have been net code between those two, but she actually, luckily, will only lose 2 positions from it. Tracy's going to decide to just tuck in and give her a shove. There is some front-end damage on the right front of that car, however. He's nicked the wall just a little bit, as these guys are now starting to scatter around here. Heitman's almost going to be put 3 wide, I thought, for a moment.
Yeah, Derek Heitman, Johnny Avila, all these guys up here inside the top 5. Is Hoffman now up 4 positions, starting to get hot and heavy up here towards the front. I mean, the 92 in that TRD Camry literally was on the white line, so using all of the real estate, and still now starting to mount some laps on these tires, was able to get a great run up off the bottom. But Bryce, look at that outside lane. Just like at Talladega, it's formed up a lot better. No help for the 92. And all that track position he just gained, he just lost it going down the backstretch.
Yeah, and it's so hard to slide in behind somebody because you have room in the middle of the corner, but the problem is the run on the outside is going to be so massive. And right there, he tried to shoot the gap that wasn't there. try to get himself back up in line. He'll do a little bit of free landscaping for Auto Club. He's should be fine, but he's going to lose a lot of positions here because yeah, he's going to drop all the way to 26 for that. He tried to shoot a gap that wasn't there. We'll go rewind it really, really quickly. But he was trying to jump back in line because he knows how important it was to get in line here and go from a chase view so we can see it a little bit better. Right there, he just tried to go up and 92 or 90. Well, I'm not sure what car number that is. I think that's like the 97 was still there, and he just wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, just try to put, like you said, try to force his car into that slot. It wasn't there. Green flag stays out over the racetrack, and as you said, he was mowing grass for the infielders. We're 3 wide here. That's going to be Derek Heitman right there, a part of it. Oh, what a move by Heitman. We just seen it and how it could go wrong, and that's how it looks when it goes right. I don't know if that was blind faith or a Hail Melon, but man, that looked good here from the broadcast booth as that 76 ZL1 Camaro is trying to go places right now as he is blocking high, low, everywhere.
It was a 91 that Hoffman made contact with. I knew it was 9-something. Heitman, I don't know if he's falling back a little bit. He's only up 1, but Miller, he did get the lead here. Matt, however, has dropped. Looks like 3 positions. The 91 will, ooh, yeah, at 91. Whoa. He hopped up right in front of the 4. He knew he had to get up there. Now you're gonna have to start working the air a little bit now, as these tires are starting to wear out a little bit. The guys that have driven hard you're gonna start to see those tires kind of show their age. They're not gonna show the age too badly, but you're gonna start seeing it now here. The guys that have abused them early in the run, and it's finally came back and bit them here. So they're 3 wide now with Derek in the middle, 83 on the bottom. That's Adam and Matt up top.
Yeah, Derek probably wondering what he has to do to get himself out of the middle, the meat in the sandwich. And now he has an escape hole. He's going to go to the outside in front of his teammate. And now that's going to leave the other team Connie car, the 83 there of Adam on the bottom. And he has help on that inside lane as well, but it has been hot and heavy, smothered and covered here just inside the top 5. Derek Heitman holds on to that 5th place position. But Bryce, as you said, as these tires continue to wear, you can see these cars getting loose off the corner, the dirty air on top of it, and they're really starting to have to throw some blocks to keep that momentum. And this is where we could see trouble starting to brew out on the racetrack as these drivers, everyone inside the top 16, last on pit road, lap 13.
See, they're using all of the racetrack. Almost every single lane was being used there, so drivers are starting to kind of figure out where their tires will actually get some grip, where they can actually get a decent run, as Matt's going to have to watch his inside as he's going to be put 3 wide again. You can kind of use 3 wide here at this track. It's big enough for it. You just don't want to be the guy that, if he does make a mistake, gets punished for it. But Gitter and Miller have been able to run away. Hastings is not, no, he is in the draft of Gitter, but you can kind of see now that they're starting to get a little bit more spaced out, guys are starting to rise towards the top that didn't abuse them so badly that they don't have any speed left in them. Jolene has dropped a lot of positions. I think she's might have abused her tires here a little bit.
Yeah, that dark horse off the pace, but up front, Robert Miller, that guy was basically entrenched in that 3rd place position. It seemed like an eternity. Was just patient. The Bristol, Tennessee man had the plan, saved those tires, was able to get around Patrick Gitter, and now these 2 run single file. They were really loving that action in the rearview mirror, all that 2 and 3 wide racing. That was allowing them to get away, and now they have about a 4 to 5 tenths of a second advantage over the competition behind him as we go on board with Miller, looking out the back nose cam, or the bumper cam, at his teammate Patrick Gitter, who runs in that 2nd place position.
Gitter, he's just kind of stuck behind him. He's going to have to keep riding like this. They're getting caught here a little bit by Hastings. Not too badly, though, as you can hear him. Wow, he's still riding in 5th. So one thing about riding in 5th is you've got more security getting off the corner. The tires are not going to want to spin when you get back on the throttle. However, you're going to be really, really tight getting in because you don't have that rotation from the RPMs to help you get through it. So he's kind of having to maybe manage, do I really want to ride in 4th? Do I want to go in 5th? Half the time, I guarantee Miller's probably just, yeah, he's still shifting because, one, he doesn't have the draft, and he needs to shift still. So different strategies being played by these guys right now at the moment.
Yeah, remember, these cars, even with the higher horsepower package here, they still don't have all the power in the world. A far cry from the Gen 4, which put out almost 1,000 horsepower. So when you're out front, as Bryce mentioned, you don't have the benefit of the draft. Oh, that got skitty. You're going to have to use everything you have in your arsenal, and that includes shifting. Is that 91 got a heck of a run, now pulls down to the inside of Gitter. Here comes Hastings to the bottom. He is going to clear, and Gitter covers the spot, check the box. The 91 now up 16th positions, second biggest mover of the race. Welcome to the top 3, Brandon Hastings.
Hastings done a really, really good job. As you see the 63 of Johnny will try to get to the inside of him. Now they're going to use it the whole track, and this 91 is going to have an absolutely massive run. But you have to be cautious because up there, what I've found out running this track is this track, especially through the corners, is really, really bumpy. And you hit one of these seams wrong, and it will send you completely sideways. You really don't want to run the seams if possible because it's almost like there's just some type of ice on them, because it's just not fun. Trust me, it is not fun. As these guys are now getting boxed up behind Gitter, trying to get around him right now at the moment. So it looks like Gitter might be kind of holding them back at the moment here. He'll get passed by Adam.
Oh my!
They're gonna start
Adam
swallowing
just
him up.
threw that car right up in front of his teammate. I didn't know if he realized that Gitter had that kind of a run. But these guys putting on a clinic up here at the front it looks like they're doing the Indy Snake here in California. This is absolutely wild. As we go back now further through the field, or excuse me, back to the front of the field. Hastings now not happy with that second place position. He's going for more as he is under siege. Here comes the 97. He's going to get a huge run off the top. Going to be pushing all over the back of that ZL1 Camaro. And they had a massive speed advantage there, about 5 to 6 miles an hour faster than the 83. That's team drafting at its finest right there. Talladega or not, that was great draft work right there up here at the front of this thing.
You see, one thing that's going to happen, though, is they're letting Miller get away from him. They may be able to run him down just because, whoa, what in the world is this 63 doing? I don't know what that was. That was weird. It looks like he was shaking the car from side to side for some odd reason. I don't know if the rear end got out from under him on exit, but that just didn't look normal there from Johnny. Derek's going to try to get a position here. He won't be able to get to the inside of Adam, so Adam's going to come down in front of him. Now Gitter's going to have a big run to the outside of Heitman. Heitman comes up and shuts the door on him. These guys are teammates, but you wouldn't think of it because of the way that they're driving. Miller, however, is being caught a little bit by Hoetzema. Hoetzema is still 6/10 behind, so he's not within the draft quite just yet of these guys.
Yeah, Johnny Avila there again in that 63. That back of that race car is shaking all around. I'm not sure if he's catching the slip strip or, as you said, the seam, or perhaps a combination of both and a bump at the same time. But that 63 was not happy up off the corner as he continues now to run almost 3 wide at times, working with Derek Heitman there. He's up to 3rd position. Johnny Avila currently, even with the board where he started, in that 5th place position.
So the 91 got into the wall a little bit, and that just shows you how momentum-based this track is, which is one thing that I hate, and hate at the same time is also, I feel like at this track it's not so bad, but Gitters, he is trying to stop the bleeding because he is dropping so many positions right now. Either he has clicked off that car or something's not acting the way that he needs it to, but they have dropped 2 seconds off of the pace, every single person. As they started, their best laps are 41 mids. They're running 43 lows right now at the moment. That's how much tire fall there is, so definitely some tire fall has happened. Did it just dark on the track, or what was mean?
I thought I saw a huge cloud come over the track, because it definitely looked like it had got darker out there. You know, talking about track temperature, Bryce, it's 137 degrees. that's going to be like Waffle House dumping the bacon grease. So that makes sense why we're seeing, this kind of tire fall off as the laps continue to climb up the leaderboard here.
We'll just have to keep an eye on it. It does say cloudy, so that very well could have been a chance that they just drove under a cloud here. As it does, yeah, it looks like there's a cloud right here on the front stretch. At least that lap there was. This lap, it seems like it's moved a little bit, but there definitely was a cloud on the track there. So we'll have to keep that in mind. 137, really, really hot tracks. These guys are already going to be skating around. It's going to be made even worse with tire fall off here for sure.
Well, everyone's starting to battle these worn out Dr. Fieldbats. Robert Midler continues to pull away ever so slightly from the rest of the field. There he is, out there carrying the torch, and then 0.6 of a second back. There you have the 97 of Lucas, how do you say that last name, Bryce?
Is that Hotsema?
Hotsema, thank you. In that second place position, and then Derek Heitman in third. But that 10 clearly did a great job of saving those tires. Remember, he was very content running in that third place position for almost half the run and let these guys burn their stuff up. And then once those tires started to fall off, that's when Miller kicked it into high gear and now enjoying that fresh air. That 10 car is running better and better as these laps continue to wind up.
He's losing a little bit of time. I mean, it's only by hundreds, but they are in the draft of him again. Heitman's worked his way back up here. Where is Gitter at? Gitter has kind of fallen to the back of this pack here that had separated themselves. So either he's saving or his tires are just absolutely cooked off. Actually, I'm going to go cockpit to... That's not the right person. This is Gitter. He is loose. It sounded like he's cutting in. See what it does this corner. I definitely heard that throttle cut out on that car, though, so he may be extremely, extremely loose.
Yeah, check out that steering wheel input. And yeah, that car is, whoa, big time loose there. Coming off the corner. You see him having to correct. He got loose there again when he started to put the power down. So, yeah, you hit it right on the head, Bryce. That 21 is loose, and he cannot wait to come on down pit road and get some service on that race car. I can assure you of that, as we're now 53 laps into the books.
Max, I just saw your comment. I'd need to get a fourth monitor. I should have done that when I was down at Micro Center. That just opened up. But, no, this is not real. This is a simulator. It's a video game, as some people will say. There's a tear in the community. People get so mad if you say it's a video game. It's actually a simulator, which I don't really care. I mean, it's the same thing pretty much to a certain extent, but this is a simulator. However, people have like basically like you're driving a real car with some of the setups people have that people use for it. But what I was going to say about Gitter's staying in fifth to get off the corner safely because that car is so loose. If he downshifts to fourth, it's going to give him more rotation, but it's also going to pick up those rear tires, and it's going to make it maybe a little bit harder for him to get off. So he's going to ride around in fifth, and he's probably going to try to burn that right front a little bit more. So it gets a little bit tighter for him, but I think he might be tight loose, which is when you put the wheel into it to get to turn, and then when it turns, there's too much wheel in it, so the rear end comes around, and that is one of the most annoying things to deal with because you just cannot drive a car like that. I had to drive him before, and I did not want to be in that race anymore. It was so hard.
Yeah, snap loose is not fun. It's just, you feel helpless. As you said, you start feeding wheel, getting into the corners like a dump truck. It just continues to go up the hill. And then all of a sudden, when it decides to catch, there's almost no warning. And as you said, too much wheel in the race car. The next thing you know, you're staring at the fence. Probably one of the worst situations for any driver out there on the racetrack as we continue to monitor here the 97 and the 76 here. Team Connie and Derek Heitman. He's had a great run thus far in that third place position, but Benefield in that Castrol John Force throwback scheme in that Mustang having himself a good run as well, as he is just outside the top three in that fourth place position.
We'll see these guys have now gotten a pretty big gap to the people behind him. Matt he's 7/10 behind, so he's not in the draft with these guys in front of him. He's going to ride that high line as Cameron Stone's a little bit loose on the rear end there. Saw it step out just a tad, but I think he should be fine.
Patrick Bitter kind of coming back to life. He's getting racy again as he just sent it down to the bottom. Perhaps he was saving there a little bit, let his tires cool back down, but that Camaro seems to have come back to life just a little bit as he is now going back in the right direction up to 9th place. Remember, he had slid back as far as 11th on this run.
Let's see, do they have a... No, they don't. I was going to look at the fuel mileage. It's been forever since I've ran Auto Club. I could guess that they could get 40 to 50 laps out of the... Oh, no, it can't be 50. Well, I'll give them 55 to 65 laps out of the tank. I'm not completely sure, to be honest with you. It's been so long since I've ran this track. I'm kind of used to a little bit shorter races. As there is smoke, somebody is down pit road. That's Jolene making her pit stop. She was way, or she wasn't way off the pace, but she was already back there. So I think that it was time for her to come down pit road. It was not being helpful for her to stay out anymore.
Yeah, so she's going to be the first one here that blinks under green flag conditions, takes that dark horse down pit road for service. As Miller continues to lead here from Auto Club Speedway. He's enjoying 0.3 of a second advantage over the rest of the competition. But here comes the 97, taking a page out of Miller's playbook from earlier in the run. Perhaps he's one of the long run guys we got to keep an eye on as well, as he is now closing in on the leader. In fact, last time by Bryce, he's a couple hundredths quicker than Miller at a 43.41 to Miller's 41.61.
You always got to look, and it's the draft is playing into it. Miller, I don't think he's necessarily struggling. I think Hotsumo has kind of waited a little bit longer. Hotsumo has gained 11 positions. He was further back, though, at one point in the race. I do know that much. Have to see when these guys start to bite on pit stops, because, yeah, see, everybody else is way spaced out with each other. As Matt is incredibly off the pace. I don't know how he fell back this far.
I wonder if that was part of that smoke show we seen or we caught in the camera when we were panning back to the front of the field, perhaps.
That may be, but there is a stage at lap 65, and he doesn't realize that. Maybe he could stay out a little bit longer and just wait for the caution, but he's going to come down right now and just get the tires off that car, because evidently it's just not handling the way that he wants it to. But he was way back there. You see somebody else slowing down for pit road, maybe. No, I thought they were for a minute, but Gitter's now worked his way back up. Maybe he just waited a little bit. Matt is all over that rear bumper, trying to shove him, trying to keep a straight nose on him too. It looked like he was loose everywhere around him.
Matty Long is absolutely assisting him down the straightaway. That was like the last lap at Talladega there, as we're now working lap 61. Matty Long, always really good in competition. Sunday night, you can catch him in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. In fact, Patrick Gitter as well, as he runs just in front of him. And these guys always seem, Bryce, if they're not on, if their car's not perfect at the beginning of a race, these guys know how to adjust on it and get it where it needs to be at the end. And even, them getting up on the wheel, the same thing. They'll find a line, they'll find an area of real estate that works for that race car, and that's really what makes them special out there in competition. They just know what to do and how to maximize performance, even when their car may not be performing till their liking.
Yeah, kind of. Sometimes you just have to figure out what the car will do and adapt to it from that point. I've had to deal with that multiple times. The car just doesn't want to do what you want it to, and it takes you a little bit to figure it out, as Lucas will actually get the lead as all that was happening, but he's only has to hold on to it for about 3 more laps here, and then the caution should be thrown for the end of the stage. This is only the second race in the full-length Cup Series, so drivers are probably still learning how each other race around them. So still figuring that out.
You know, that's an important part of this too, especially, you know, I know when I'm new coming into a series, a bunch of drivers, you know, I don't know. I don't want to be the one to go out there and stink the place up, you know, per se. So I always try to be patient, give guys plenty of room, give them respect. But, you know, understanding, you know, how these guys race and just knowing how to race around another driver, you know, that really helps build confidence and gives that driver the comfort, you know, that you're looking for out there. As we watch here, Pearson in that 62. Gonna take a look here to the inside. We should have one more lap remaining here before we get the caution for the stage. Is they're still side by side going into the corner. 62 has the advantage on the bottom. The difference is Matty Long right in front of that Camaro on the high side, and that could be an advantage as they draft down the backstretch.
You'll see how hard these guys want to fight, knowing that there is a stage coming up, and you could maybe just pass them on pit road, or you could attempt to do that. It's just a thought. But these guys are, it looks like they're going to kind of race neatly around each other. I think you're still probably weighing, is it worth trying to be super aggressive, getting around somebody, or do you still just want to kind of be a little bit courteous? For me, I'd still be a little bit courteous because you have more than 100 laps left, and so many things can go wrong for a driver to lose a position. I would just kind of let it go at this point, not try to get around somebody.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well said. Plenty of time for give and take out there. You know, more than 100 laps to go. You know, definitely don't want to making any enemies out there on the racetrack because, Bryce, you know, as a driver, once you flip that switch and you set the dial to kill, that give and take from the other guys is out the window as well. So you want to make sure it's calculated at the right time. Is great battle here for the line as the 15 takes it all the way down to the flatlands. But the 62 of Pearson's going to get the spot at the line as stage one officially in the books. Caution flag in the air.
We'll just have to see who can hop each other on pit road as Lucas Hoetzema will win that stage. Miller second, Heitman third, Cameron Stone fourth, Patrick Gitter fifth. He rebounds from a car that really wasn't doing what he needed it to. It was just getting loose, and then it surprisingly got a little bit tighter for him, which was good because that car is it's a handful loose at this track. I've driven one that's been loose on the rear end, and it's one of the most annoying things to deal with. It says Steven Williams has crashed. We'll go rewind really quickly. He toes it.
He came to us.
That's odd. I don't know why
he jumped on the binders really hard there and then just aborted and jumped to pit road. That, I agree, very odd.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, you got... I mean, caution's out. I don't know if he had something else happen that made him have to do that. That's the only thing I can think. Something happened that made him do it.
Perhaps a hardware issue, steering wheel, something, you know, would make him do that. Certainly not the natural course of action. But like you said, caution flags out and everything is, here we go. Pit road becomes the hottest spot in the whole facility, being led down by the 97. Any big movers and shakers on this pit sequence, we're about to find out.
That huge gap that these top four have, so they don't have to rush out of their pit box at all. They can get 4 tires and all the fuel that they need. The next pit stop will be at lap 130. So they have forever on the pit stop there.
Yeah, just want to make sure you get it full, especially if that green flag, you know, looms large out there on the racetrack. It's the 97 Jack's down and away. He's back on underway after 4 tires and 2 cans to go fast. There's Miller in the 10. Right behind him, looks like he's going to retain that second place position. Heitman, the same story in third. That could be a position change there for the 57. a stone. I think he's going to get one from Gitter there as he's going to come off pit road in that 6th place position.
I think there was a little bit of a change up there on position. Now these guys are definitely looking at their tire wear and seeing, okay, what did I do? How do the tires look? And then they can change change the driving style from that point on. I can also be making a little bit of a change on their pit stop, taking some wedge out, putting it in, air pressure, stuff like that. They can change. I don't think you'd be changing that much to an extent. I mean, maybe some wedge unless your car is absolutely just garbage, pretty much. I've had to do that
Or if
sometimes.
if it's out to lunch that bad, which I don't think we've seen any cars like that here in the early going. You know, we had that initial start of the race there. I forget who it was that just took it up into the nosebleeds and absolutely cooked the right side tires off it. And I don't think that car's been the same. I think it was the 41 at Taylor, who is now being shown in that 30th place position out of the race. You know, certainly fun to watch, but unfortunately, you know, that strategy caught up with him as that car was just too much to hold on to. And unfortunately got caught up in some on-track altercations there, and he is on the hauler as we get Rex stacked behind this pace car. Lights out. Get ready to go back. Green flag racing this time by.
Will be Hotsuma will lead them to green, but I wouldn't say track position is such a big thing on the restart because they're so close together and you're just going to have to be trying to get around each other. I think it's really more of, can you catch them in the right spot? I mean, people are going to be fighting super hard here, so I think being first is always good, but kind of not as beneficial at this track as it is other ones to a certain extent.
You know, the last thing you want to do here is miss a shift. Momentum is really critical here. We've seen that already, and especially for these drivers inside the top 5, top 10. The one thing you can't do is miss a shift, otherwise you will go to the back. Quit fast and in a hurry.
The pace car will pull off here. As the starter will have the flag in his hand, and the green flag is in the air. We are back underway here.
Back underway from Auto Club, and Lucas Hotsuma takes him back down to the turns 1 and 2 complex after we take the green flag in stage number 2 now. Miller currently single file 1-2, but side-by-side action all the way back through the rest of the field right now as we see Patrick Gitter and company 2 and 3 wide. The Hornet's Nest is back and alive at Auto Club.
Heitman on the inside. He's got Gitter giving him a shove. Bryson Hixenbog is going to be on the outside trying to hold this line. If he does have the preferred line, he might be able to get Adam off the exit. Cameron Stone probably should. Yeah, he's going to go up to the wall, so Bryson should get this position. Cameron's running a little bit down from the wall. Bryson doesn't chase him, but he's easily going to get that position, so he'll fall in line to 4th now. But these guys are going to have to choose how aggressive do you want to be early on to these tires, as you see the 11 of Ryan Jones to the middle now. He's going to be kind of stuck there. This is really an odd position for him. He will gain a position, I think, and also stay down low so he doesn't tuck back in line, which I really thought that he would have. 15 riding behind Heitman also. And there we go. This is welcome to Auto Club. You see 4 guys on each other's bumper the whole entire time. They did not move up or down at all from each other. Just had a lot of new people join the server, so I was checking that out very, very quickly. We also have another race that's going on at the same time. As, yes, we do. Making sure about this other stream. Could have given them credentials to the GRN page for sure, but I didn't realize that. Gitter's going to try to shove his nose up there. Hoeksema Gitter just kind of forced his way in there almost to a certain extent. Miller going to give him the outside. How hard do these guys want to race each other? Somebody's in the wall there. I can hear the squeal of the fenders, but I don't see anybody who's had any real damage there at the moment. But Hoeksema going to fall back to third. Hixenbog, as all that was happening, he kind of managed to sneak his way around to the lead. I didn't see him weave his way through there at the moment. Matt is having a connection issue. He had that last time also. I think he had a... I think there was a storm happening last time. Might be happening again for him. Not that big of a deal. But Stone has now found his way up to second. I also said last time they raced, I might be related to Stone. Turns out I am. Either his great-grandma or his grandma was my grandpa's sister, one of them. So me and him are related distantly. I'm surprised he's from Danville, Virginia. But me and Cameron Stone are related. Small world. Very small world. You see that is Ben Tracy leading another line behind him. As it's the 62 might have been the culprit there because he just got in the wall. So I might have heard his fenders beg for forgiveness and was tired of getting in the wall there a little bit. However, these cars can actually take a little bit of a hit most of the time. As the 92 of Hoffman has gotten around Stone. Stone might have slipped up pretty bad on one corner there. Heitman and Miller are back where they qualified. We are 7th and 8th at the moment, so these guys have not moved up or down. I do expect that these guys are probably saving their tires more than anything else. Other people will go through and flat out burn them off, and some guys are worse than others at it. Really, some of the newer drivers, these guys are all pretty experienced. The average I rating of the session, or not the session, of the last race was 4,100. So they all had some talent, that's for dang sure. See if the track is pulled off just a little bit for them also. It's 137, 136, so it is 1 degree cooler. I see some wind. I don't think that wind's going to be really affecting them. If it was a little bit higher, maybe, but at the moment, I don't think it will be doing much. But we see somebody else who's kind of fallen up here. That looks like it's Jacob Simpson. Not said much about him. He's up 11 positions from where he qualified. He qualified 21st, currently sitting 10th at the moment. I just see the 11 of Jones with the Sim Magic. As I'm about
great looking pace. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't realize you had gotten back. I was just looking at his paint scheme. I was about to say, no, is it Sim Magic or is it Sim Riggs? Hold on. No, he's got a different sponsor on. No, it's Sim Riggs, not Sim Magic. I thought that looks eerily similar to Sim Magic's logo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was Sim Magic myself, but like you said, upon further inspection, a little bit different on there, but nonetheless, great looking paint scheme there on Brian Jones's car. You see he runs just outside of the top 10 in that 11th place position, having a great run up 13 spots.
Bryson was able to take the lead, and he's kind of held on to it a little bit. They're going to have another pit stop. I think you can make it. Well, you might not be able to make it to this stage. No, I think they will. If they do, it's going to be right on the edge. See the 15 all the way up. All right, Ralph Hutchinson is going to decide to... Ooh, wow, Miller just came up right in front. of Jones. That almost ended up really badly.
Yeah, that was definitely a woulda, coulda, shoulda. Great heads-up drive in there. Great situational awareness, especially. That's one of the things this racetrack can do to you when you have everyone just scattering all over the place and the running, the different runs coming, blocking lines, switching the lanes. That can absolutely, end your day quick, fast, and in a hurry. As Ralph Hutchinson continues here to work towards the bottom of the racetrack here. I'm really impressed with how well that car continues to rotate on the bottom when most of the competition is now moved up to that second groove.
These guys are going to be trying to find positions on each other. Some guys will be ducking in and out. However, if you're going to make a move, you better have a lot of momentum to go with it. We're about to be 3 wide to a certain extent. I think Miller was trying to make a pass there. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to be able to slide up, luckily for him. Guys are probably going to chase down these people in front of him. Hoeksema's held back just a little bit more. He's only lost, well, he lost 3 positions from the start, but we saw he was a long run driver as it went on, so he's definitely going to keep that in mind. He's going to realize, hey, my car is better on longer run. I don't really have to worry about it too much at the moment.
And that's one thing as a driver, that has to take so much patience, and I even struggle with that. That's my strategy. Hey, we know we're going to lose some spots here, especially if you're up front, but your car, really comes to life the second half of the run. Ooh, it's the 29 and the 10, almost make contact there. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of discipline as a driver to let those cars pass you, knowing that, hey, it's going to come back to you later on in the run. That's the diamond formation, and that's never a good thing, as we're starting to get really dicey here for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th place position.
Guys are going to be getting maybe a little bit more aggressive. I still think they're not going to be chopping each other's nose off. We still have more than 100 laps left, but some guys like to drive aggressive the whole entire race, and sometimes that can end up bad for them. I saw guys get taken out from other people because they're tired of them driving so aggressive, but Hoffman has been able to make a big move here, and these guys, wow, Stone is actually way ahead of Hoeksema. I did not realize how far ahead these guys were of them. They may have made some changes to the car that they like, because they are way out there for sure. I did not expect this.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, who's ever on top of the pit box there for the 92 of Clayton Hoffman and, Cameron Stone even. I mean, clearly these cars are working way better than they were on the opening segment of this race. And to your point, they are starting to check out on the competition. I mean, these guys right now, last time by, a 42.11 and a 42.01, and if you go back to Patrick Gitter, he just ran a 41.91. So clearly, these cars at the front, they have found something in the speed department, as they are stout right now, turning some very competitive lap times.
They are running about 5/10 from their fastest lap right now. They're not going to be absolutely going out there and blazing it. That's not good. You're not going to be able to do that. Is that on? Hold on just a minute. Odd, but there we go. Got that fixed. I have an AC in my room, and I had to turn it on, and it was wanting to go full blast there for a minute because it gets so dang hot up here. But Bryson is going to actually be pushed by Hoffman. Hoffman's probably deciding, hey, let's just get out there, and then we can race a little bit later, which is what some guys will do. Some people won't do it. I think more people need to do that. Realize, hey, we're the better cars of this group. Let's just shove each other and get far, far ahead from it.
Yeah, sometimes working together to help the common cause is not a bad thing here, but some drivers, as you say, they hate it. They don't like getting pushed. Sometimes they see that as just another opportunity for mistakes to be made out there on the racetrack. But here at Auto Club, I like that call. Get yourself out of the congestion, out of the chaos, and then go about your business, later on in the run, as that 97 of Lucas Hoeksema continues to be on that recovery drive. As you said, Bryce, he's good on the long run, and that car is starting to come around now as he has Cameron Stone in his crosshairs.
Hoeksema gaining ever so slightly. We'll see him just nudge his way up there. And as the run goes on, it seems like he does get a little bit better. So we'll just see how it will play out for him in the long run. These guys behind him, however, have been kind of stuck behind each other. They haven't really gained any positions. They've just been just driving. Oh, they did a little bit. No, well, actually, yeah, they've gained a tad. They're within the draft of Stone now. Hoeksema is at least. Benefield is within the draft of Hoeksema now. He's within 6/10. So he's right on it at the moment. See who else is back. Packed good. The 91 we saw up front earlier, he got in the wall a little bit. He slowed down. The 63 was also battling up there. So some guys have not fared so well. Oh, there they go. Oh. 62 is going to smoke the wall. I think that was contact from Simpson there.
Yeah, Simpson and Pearson had a meeting of the minds. That sends that ZL1 Camaro hard up into the retaining wall. The front clip completely removed, and he's going to take it onto pit road. Tough break for Pearson. As you can see, the toe on that race car is completely all out of sorts.
I think Simpson just got in there, and he got into. Actually, that's weird there. He had to overcorrect here. That's a little bit of contact. I mean, that's not like I'm gonna door slam you super hard though. I mean, that's slight contact there. That's odd. I don't know if he overcorrected or just get tight on him. That's really
the way that car reacted just looks. I agree.
I didn't mean to hit that fast forward, but kind of watch the steering wheel. It looks like it just. I don't know. He's fine. I mean, I think he could have saved it here, but he just kind of just stops driving it at that point. He's just like, I'm just going to go on the wall. That was odd. I mean, I don't think he got tight out of anywhere. The only thing I think of is his steering wheel became disconnected. I don't really know. That was really, really weird. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I mean, to your point, yeah, there was contact, but not to the point where, it's going to just send him, into the wall like that. You don't see a lot of steering wheel input there right until the very end as that car shoots up into that safer barrier. But nonetheless, pit stops imminent here as pit road wide open for business. Hoffman leading him back down. This now working lap 90. Everyone on the lead lap around the racetrack, I should say, coming into pit road for 4 Dr. Feelgoods and 2 cans of Go Fast.
Yeah, all will come down pit road. 4 tires, fuel. Maybe some more changes. I think that you could maybe make some if your car is kind of not acting the way that you want it to a certain extent. I don't think it's going to be acting too badly for him, though. We'll just have to find out, as I think Hixenbog, yeah, he will win that race off of pit road again, so he's good with that there.
Yeah, Hixenbog was absolutely lights out with that pit delta. So time, they hit that the commitment cone to pit stop completion to pit exit. I mean, that was absolutely flawless execution there by Hixenbog, and too bad I don't have the ability to see what the time delta was there, but that was absolutely textbook by the 68 team there as he pulls it back onto the racetrack. Hixenbog, Stone, Hoffman, that's the top 3. Then you got Benefield, Patrick Gitter rounding out your top 5. Heitman, Miller, Hutchinson, Matty Long, and Jim Schofield in that rounding out the top 10 as they currently run right now.
So Hixenbog, he's up 5 positions from where he qualified. Benefield and Gitter only both are -1. Biggest mover tied Danilo and Jacob Simpson, who we saw get into Pearson there, which still just was weird. He's gained 10 positions also. I'm not going to necessarily blame that on him because I think something happened with the wheel. Just just the way it took off. It was just too weird to see that happen. It just stopped turning in the middle of the corner out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever quite seen something like that before, where contact is made and, obviously a natural reaction to the driver is going to, make an input to the race car to, to counteract what just happened on the racetrack. And there's nothing. The car just, goes up there, clobbers the wall. And then after that contact is when you see, inputs by the driver being made to the car. Just a weird set of circumstances there, but still, hate to see that. For that Team Connie driver out there having a great run until that incident happened just moments ago.
We'll have to see how these guys will race each other now. This will get them to the next stage, which is lap 130. Yeah, lap 130. So they'll race to that. You guys will definitely have that in the back of their mind. Hey, we're just racing to this stage. We're not racing for the win right now at the moment quite yet. Pace car will pull off.
Pace car will pull off. You're good. Green flag back in the air, and Hixenbach catches him on the snooze button there. Great restart by the 68, but here comes the outside lane working together. That's Hoffman and Gitter, I believe, on the outside. Top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, and they have now caught Hixenbach, who shot out of a cannon, but Bryce, he didn't have the help. He didn't have the draft support, and look at the run on the outside.
Yeah, Stone's going to be coming with a massive one. I don't think he's going to be able to really benefit off of it, though. Yeah, he's going to just decide to get right up to the bumper of him and give him a little bit of a shove. I think that's a pretty smart move from him. Realize, hey, if I go and make this pass, I'm not going to be able to get around him, so I might as well just go ahead and shove him. A lot of guys, they'll try to make that move and it doesn't end up too well for him at all.
Worked out well that time for Hixenbach. It reinforced his presence here at the front of this piece. Now working lap 94. 57 there, playing a little bit of defense against the 92 of Hoffman. And then just in back of him, you got Patrick Gitter, the two Team Connie cars, trying to get back to the front. Remember, at one point in time, Team Connie was controlling this race with Patrick Gitter and Heitman 1-2. Now they're trying to take back, which was once theirs. They have a little more work to do, though, if they want to win this second stage as these laps continue to wind down.
Guys are probably realizing, hey, we need to get up there at the moment. Teammates are always going to teammates always work together. Sometimes they don't. One thing about NASCAR is your teammates, but you're also both trying to win. So kind of like, you're my teammate, but I'm also going to go for the win. But you can sometimes end up both of you getting wrecked, and then that's not good for the team owner at all.
Yeah, that's not one place I want to be Monday morning, having a incident out on the racetrack where you're racing hard against your teammate and you end up wad up two race cars. That all comes out of the same pocketbook. Never a good thing, but you're right. That's NASCAR. That's how it is in the modern era. And that's a fine balance out there on the racetrack. You know how to race each other, and different teams have rules. They have orders. So we continue to watch Matty Long here just outside the top 10 in that 11th place position. Hastings has it. Long wants it.
These guys will battle for each other, battle for the position. Miller will go down to the inside. Try to get a bead on Simpson. However, he will not be able to do it. Throughout the rest of the field, though, it looks like everybody else is pretty sorted out. The one of Dustin Hall has been taking a little bit to get up here. He won the last two races at this track, so he's taking his time. However, he still has a lot of time to get up there. So maybe he's just realizing, hey, I don't have to get the lead right now. I can just kind of keep driving and just let it fall into my hands. However, I would probably be wanting to get up front as fast as I could just to know how the car does handle overall.
Yeah, the only way to figure out if it's going to handle up there or not, you have to put it up there. And sometimes it goes according to plan, and other times, your car not so good out in front. It's actually better, sometimes a second or third car in line. But I'll tell you what, Bryce, from a manufacturer standpoint at the front, It's perfect. You have a Chevrolet, then you have the Dark Horse, and then the TRD powered Camry, 1, 2, 3. So all three manufacturers being represented well here at the front of the field.
In real life NASCAR, I think Toyota has the least amount of numbers, which they're trying to get more as it goes on. Legacy Motor Club joined them this year. I'll tell you what, that place is a shell of its former self. I don't know what happened to them. Seems like that second car that they have doesn't matter who they put in it, they just absolutely drive completely horrible. In my opinion, at least. It just never works out for them.
I agree with you 100%. It just seems like anytime they try to get that 42 going, the lifeblood just gets sucked out of the performance of the race cars. You know, to your point about Legacy Motor Club, I never thought in a million years we would see Jimmy Johnson, a 7-time Cup champion, associated with Ford, let alone Toyota. That absolutely blows my mind. Every time I see him out there on the racetrack, I still have not gotten over that. I don't know how you feel about that, Bryce. I wasn't a huge Jimmy Johnson fan, but that is absolutely wild how Chevrolet could let him get away from that bond that time.
I mean, for me, it was kind of just like, I mean, I don't really think much of it. Like, it's not like it doesn't have the significance as, let's say, if HMS went to Toyota, because HMS is the top team in NASCAR right now, in my opinion, and probably most people will agree. Like, it's not like one of the markers of like, oh gosh, this is such a great team that went to it. So I think that's why it really wasn't that big of a deal. I think there was also some kind of disdain that it felt like Legacy wasn't getting the help from Chevy as other teams were, and that's kind of why some teams why they kind of switched to Toyota. They could get a little bit more help, and I think that they may be getting help from JGR. I think now that they switched to Toyota, that's going at a reach there. I'm not completely sure. It may be though, but I don't really hate it. It is weird, definitely seeing him drive a. Oh, I shanked my own headset out. Definitely is weird seeing him drive a Toyota compared to a Chevy, because that's pretty much what he drove his whole entire career, even when he was running what was now called the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. And yeah, you're right. They were kind of being treated like the redheaded stepchild there, as far as in the pecking order. So yeah, Toyota stepped up, say, hey, we'll make you a focal point. It's just the fact that when I see Jimmy Johnson out there on the racetrack, I guess I was thinking more of it on a driver's standpoint, not so much the team. Just seeing him in a Toyota just blows my mind. But hey, it all comes down to performance. It all comes down to numbers. And if you're not out there winning, that's the name of the game. Sometimes you're going to make those changes. And nonetheless, Legacy Motor Club, TRD, hashtag let's go places. And he's still trying to get the formula right, but hopefully they can get their season turned around for him as Hoxenbaugh continues to lead here, now working lap 103 of 200 from California Speedway.
Yeah, now
Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, now we're kind of talking about drivers. I'll tell you what, there is one team this year that has impressed me in the Cup Series is crap. Why did I just draw a blank on their name? Spire Motorsports with Corey LaJoie. Corey has not been the driver that he has the last 2 seasons, but Carson Hocevar has. That's for dang sure. He has ran good in that equipment. It's not necessarily bad equipment either, but he's done really good in Spire stuff. I think he's actually on the verge of a playoff position running that. And then you have Zane Smith, which is just, yeah, Zane Smith is just there in a certain extent. He has not ran good at all with the cars that he's had. I don't think he's finished better than like 20th ever in that whole race, which Michael McDowell won't be taking his ride next season. I think Zane Smith he needs to spend more time in the lower series before he actually moves up into the Cup Series. see Dustin Hall still trying to gain back some more positions. He started dead last, so he didn't get his qualifying time in at all, which is kind of a bad thing for him. You still want to qualify. It's less people you got to get around at the moment, but these top, I'll give them top 8, are pretty close to each other. Bryson Hixenbog still leading this whole group of drivers right now at the moment. Looking just through some Discord just to make sure I'm not getting any notifications at all, because I know sometimes I will and I don't get notifications just because of Discord going into a certain mode. It's just like, hey, you're here, but I'm not going to talk to you at the moment. Again, the lap 30 is the next caution that they have, which is the stage. Which, talking about stages now, we'll let the camera, that is not what I wanted for a camera view. We'll let it go to kind of search itself, but talking about stages now, somebody put out an interesting stat. Before stages were a thing, they called them phantom cautions. Cautions would be thrown randomly throughout a race, seemingly for no reason sometimes, which was mainly like debris and stuff like that. But after they implemented stages, those went away, which is kind of odd to see, but also good. At the same time, I do think that stages are a good thing for NASCAR, because even I watched both of, or I guess both versions. Oh yeah, both versions, I'll say, where it was just any caution was for a wreck or stuff like that. I think the stages do make it a little bit better. Restarts are always good, as long as you don't get wrecked and, cleaned out. Daniel Suarez, as I had a bet placed on Larson to go back-to-back. I had won the bet earlier at Sonoma, won 250 from that, then he got wrecked out during that race, and he easily was the fastest driver of that race. No doubt that he was going to win pretty much. So it was pretty angering to me. I wanted him to win. I'm not going to bet on any more races. I just want to watch the race for fun. These two are still going to go side by side with each other. Miller and Simpson. Simpson looks like he's running. That's a Kevin Harvick-inspired paint scheme. Also, Team Conti. I thought about doing Team Conti. I don't know if Conti's watching. Raced against him at Indy at one point. I had a setup that was not from a setup shop, but somebody sent me the setup. I was able to stay on Conti's bumper for 20 laps, and then it fell off after that. I farmed Indy. This was about a year and a half ago, I'd say, so Conti knows of me. I don't know if that means anything at all, but he does have a, I don't know what he necessarily has. I guess it's kind of like a racing school that he teaches drivers, mainly more fixed. And I think he does open stuff also. You don't run any more open stuff because it came down to the set more than the driver. Kind of annoying to me, but Hoffman has gotten to the back bumper of Hixenbog. We'll refresh it because it said he's in the pits. He's not. He's still on track. It's just an issue with SDK wanting to say, hey, you're on pit road? No, which they never are half the time, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and sometimes that seems to get worse as you increase the car count, which is great to see the amount of drivers we had turn out tonight. But to your point about Hoffman absolutely being attached to that Camaro, he had that Camry all over the business end of that race car as they continue to run 1-2 and still kind of working together. But that second group of cars being led by Patrick Gitter there in Heitman as they continue to claw their way back towards the front. They are closing, and last time by, they were slightly quicker, not by much, but 0.6 of a second. That seems to be the magic number to pick up the draft in the car in front of you, and Gitter is certainly within that window.
Lap 130 will be the stage break. Not really been that much racing. Miller's been kind of working that bottom line, just slowly moving up there. He's gained 2 more positions, or another position on Stone. Heitman, Gitter, both working together. They're shoving each other up there at the moment, just trying to maybe, I don't know if your teammates in this position, I think that even if someone's slower, it's just so much time lost if you race side by side that it's just not worth it. So probably just going to shove each other more than anything else. And it is definitely working. You can see that big run that they're getting on Hoffman. They crawl right up to the bumper of him. Now, will they shove Hoffman or will they try to go around him? Issue is Gitter has to have a huge run to even attempt it, because he needs to get clear, and Heitman needs to have a huge run to get clear also if they want to stay attached to each other at all.
Yeah, it's almost like they'd want to take it way up top where Mama hides the cookies to get a huge run, but we've seen what that does in the tire department. You pay a huge penalty for that. As here comes Robert Miller. He's got other plans as he's going to pull it inside Patrick Gitter, side by side at the line. Who's it going to be? Going to be Heitman there by about a quarter of an inch.
These two side drafting each other pretty hard there. Miller realizes, hey, I'm going to side draft you decently aggressive. He's not going to have a gap as the issue, and Heitman's going to have a huge run, and you know Gitter is going to stay with his teammate. So Miller is going to have to pretty much muscle his way through, as I think it's become shaded in turns 1 and 2 here. Now, got to keep it in mind, you do not want to get too close, because I have saw so many net codes happen before. These guys stay off of each other at the moment.
Yeah, you've seen Heitman and Gitter there working together, able to take that position back that the 10 of Miller was challenging for. However, those two cars teamed up. It's like they get an extra 30, 40 horsepower. The draft takes over, and Miller, who was left out there to dry, had no support there in the bottom, has to give the position back to Gitter, as he's going to have to reset and try again, as it remains Hoxenbach, Clayton Hoffman, Patrick Gitter, Derek Heitman, and Robert Miller. That's the top 5 as they run right now.
It's 2. Oh, I did not mean to hit that. I hit my space bar on accident. Pulled up all the overlay, but you see these guys really chased him down. Nobody's been able to really gap each other quite yet. As we saw that a little bit earlier on, Matt has had a interesting race. He has not been as competitive as I thought he would be. He qualified 2nd. He's all the way back in 15th at the moment. That car is just, it's not doing what he wants it to. As Williams is down pit road, there has been, how many drivers have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers have called out of the race for left. It's the 92. As I was looking at that, he's going to go to the inside of Hicksenbog, as Hoffman will get that position. Gitter looks like he's going to try to follow that up. Also, Hicksenbog will have Hoffman to draft off of, but it doesn't seem like it's helping him that much as I thought it would. They're going to leave him out to dry, or they're going to attempt to leave him out to dry at the moment.
Yeah, at Plate Racing, I call that the shovel move, and, you know, Gitter got lucky there because the 92 of Hoffman, I mean, dropped down and basically picked him up. And what a move there by Heitman, is he just got a piece of the wall. He fit that car in there. I don't know how he cleared it, but he didn't clear it enough. He got a nudge. He got put in the wall, but I don't think a lot of damage suffered to Heitman. But that was a very close moment there for the driver of the 76.
These two going to start being a little bit more aggressive. Hoeksema, he's not really moved up to the extent that I thought he would. I mean, I really thought I would see him way up here, but it's just not happened, which is kind of weird to see.
Yeah, that first run there, that 97 Dark Horse Castrol Mustang really came to life. But Bryce, you mentioned earlier, you know, these drivers have had a couple opportunities to come down pit road. You know, maybe some drivers have made some changes to get ahead of the racetrack, and perhaps, you know, on the other side of the coin, the 97 perhaps made some changes that car didn't like. So next opportunity, let's see if they can get the mojo back in the Dark Horse as he currently runs in fifth.
It's like he was a little bit of a longer running driver, but he only has 10 laps to try to make something of it before they have a planned caution. Hoffman just skated off that corner. I saw that That rear end kicked out a lot on that car, so he's got to keep that in mind. It's probably not handling the way that he wants it to at all.
He almost went Saturday night drift mode out there at Auto Club. And while that racing is fun and exciting, not what you want here in NASCAR competition. As he's doing everything he can now to stay in front of Patrick Gitter. That Camaro looks like it's really starting to come alive here as he is drafted right up out of the back of that Toyota. You can see the 92 is running a little higher entry, and then Gitter is going to slide up the racetrack on exit. And 92 is trying to do everything to not give him a clean draft, but Gitter is there. And look at the speeds going down the backstretch, 193 miles an hour. You can see the speed really pick up on the 21 when he was able to pull the toe off the 92.
72's going to still maintain the lead. Miller is going to go at Heitman now. He's not going to be able to get close enough to him. He needs really Oatsma to get up maybe a little bit closer to him, give him a pretty big shot to go down the front stretch. But he's not close enough to do it. He can keep trying to make this move on Heitman. He's got to really cancel out. He's got to side draft him pretty hard if he's going to do that. And Oatsma's got kind of the golden key right here. He can decide to go with Miller or not. Yeah, Oatsma's he's going to decide. He's thinking about it. He doesn't really know who to go with. These two get side by side.
You can see him kind of picking and choosing back and forth. He does seem undecided who he wants to draft with. Oh, the 10 almost slid up into Heitman, and Heitman got into the wall again. Hopefully he didn't bend a toe length there. As you can tell, the laps in this stage continue to wind down as the intensity picks up. Oh, and by the way, look who's back to the point. Patrick Gitter to the lead in the 21.
Gitter, yeah, back to it. Miller, however, I think he's starting to show that his car is a little bit better than other people's later in the run. Gitter only has to hold on to this lead for about 8 more laps, and he'll get the stage win. So hopefully that happens, and then I think the next stage, they won't be able to. I don't think they'll be able to make it on fuel. I'm pretty sure they'll have to pit at least one more time. Here is Matt. I'm going to pass off to you here really quickly. I'm going to go get something for a moment.
Not a problem, man. As Patrick Gitter continues to lead this piece here, Matt Hoffman, Miller, Heitman, what a move there. 3 wide, almost looking like the Blue Angels in formation. As Hoffman's going to get a great run there through the corner. They're going to pull side by side down the backstretch. Now he's going to pull in line, pick up the draft from Heitman as he's under a siege from his teammate there in the 83. Now Miller starting to flex the muscle in the dark horse. He's going to turn it way down to the bottom, Eaton on the inside. Patrick Gitter in a blocking or an air blocking defensive mode here as that Camaro has now really lit the torch as he is now up to second place, but Gitter leads that lap, now working 124 of 200 in the books. You see these cars really starting to fan out just behind the leaders here. Hotsema, Stone, Hutchinson, they are all fighting, scrapping for position. That Castrol Mustang in the high lane doing the same as well. Is here we go once again. Miller is going to reload, reset, and go after Gitter. But now he's going to have to play offense and defense because Heitman has caught him on the outside. Oh, he tries to fit it in there. They make contact. What a save by Miller. That was certainly the don't stain your ride, use Tide moment of the race. If that was me, I would have been doing a keg stand into the grandstands there. Is that car, I don't know how he kept it straight. If you didn't see that happen in real time, you never would have known there was even an incident on the racetrack. Is now Miller stuffs it back into third. Again, Gitter going to go down to the bottom, getting all the good out of that race car or whatever's left in those good years. As he has Heitman now in tow, Miller in third.
Thank you for picking that up for me. 4 laps left here before the stage happens. We'll have to see who wants to make some moves. Not long, but apparently off track at some point. We'll have to go back and watch that when the caution is thrown for the stage. But these guys are going at it for the lead here. Miller is trying to get it from Gitter. Heitman, his teammate, is going to stay behind him.
I'll tell you what, the minute you stepped away, Bryce, I don't know how Derek Heitman kept it out of the catch fence. Is Miller in the 76, they made contact, and it was one of the greatest saves I have ever seen here at the Speedway. How they both were able to point those cars back straight and keep it going was absolutely incredible, as Gitter continues to lead with his teammate in tow. And Miller, and look who is where that 97 is, Bryce. He's in this picture all of a sudden. Where did he come from?
Yeah, Hoeksema found his way back up here. He was the leader when they came out of the pits after the stage in, or no, the wreck that happened, but he's kind of trapped behind these two. He can't find a way around them. He's just got to get a big run, and you pull it behind Heitman, give Heitman a shove. Oh, never mind. Miller will get that position, so Miller's broken up the duo now. Does Heitman try to get to the inside and race him pretty hard here? If I was Heitman, I'm probably going to do that to help my teammate, but again, you only have 2 laps to make the move if you are going to make a move here at the moment.
Yeah, Miller is going to take it and send it in the corner really, really high. Going to try and carry as much momentum off the corner here. Heitman trying to match it, but he cannot carry the same amount of speed in that Camaro. Now here comes this huge run from the dark horse, and Miller, he makes contact with the 21, trying to get him loose on entry. What can he do with it, as here comes Heitman back on the outside to help his teammate Gitter.
See Miller gonna make this move here again. He's gonna try to get side by side with Gitter. Gitter's gonna, oh, Miller's gonna just send it on in there, and he's gonna clear himself there at the moment.
Sometimes as a driver, you don't mean to clear yourself. It just works out that way. Especially when you're racing this hard, coming to the stage. I mean, these guys at the front, when they want to put on a show, they really can. And there's Hoeksema as well. Another car we thought maybe had went dormant, wasn't as good in this run. Well, he seems to have flipped the switch, as he's suddenly now in that 4th place position. But Miller has taken the lead here now with 130 laps in the books. Can he hold on and get the stage win? Is somebody Gitter shot it way up to the high side? It almost looked like the Hail Melon, except he's drifting the top of the racetrack. What a move by Gitter.
Sometimes you just have to try it, and keep in mind, caution will be thrown, so it's kind of like, hey, we're going to get a caution anyway. Why don't we just go ahead and just throw it in there and see what happens? If some guys like to make that decision. Some of them like to make it way too often. But it's not a bad idea if you know a caution is going to be thrown really, really soon, as it should be thrown here at the end of this lap. Maybe when the top 10 cross the finish line, we'll see it. Yep, there we go. We see it be thrown at the moment. So Robert Miller will win this stage here.
Caution now in the air, just as you said, Bryce. As soon as a 10th place car crosses the line, Miller's going to get the stage number 2 win. Patrick Gitter in high-flying, high-octane fashion in second, with his teammate Heitman in third. Then Hoeksema, Stone, Hoffman, Benefield, Hutchinson, Hoxenbaugh, and Simpson round out the top 10 in stage number 2.
These guys will be coming down for, I don't think their final pit stop. I think they'll have one more. The question is, how do they split that pit stop? I don't know exactly what their fuel mile. I'm still thinking. Yeah, nope, never mind. He put fuel stints in here. I read right over it. It's 45 to 50 laps, so they for sure will have to come down pit road again. So I was right the first time I said it's probably 40 to 50 laps, and then I said it was 55 to 60. I was way over on my second guess, but I was right on the first one. I don't know how I read straight over that, but I did. So I'll extend that to 53 because of the draft, pretty much. That's the only reason I'll give them that much, is solely because of the draft that they can make on each other.
Yeah, this is going to make it interesting, as they cannot go the distance from here after this pit stop. You know, this stays great. That's going to make strategy a really big key, one of the key keys to winning this race here. Look how tightly these cars are going to rack and stack on top of each other as Miller now leads them down pit road.
So Miller leading them all down. This will be probably a pretty big pit stop too. It's just when do you pit is one of the big questions. When do you pit again? Do you pit as soon as the fuel window opens? Do you pit late in the fuel? What do you do? I mean, you want to be pitting around people just because we saw how much the draft matters is one big thing. It's just it's a mind game now at this point.
Yeah, you're right. It's big time chess match strategy going to be a big part of the equation now. And me, I'm pitting at the when the window opens. That's just me. But you got to have a battle buddy, someone to go with you. If you do it by yourself, game over. I know it's not Talladega, but this track has a lot of the similar drafting characteristics, especially on the straightaways. I'm coming when the pit window opens. Get it done out of the way, and then let me focus on my job. Get up on the wheel, go out there and try to win that thing. That's how I would attack it if it was me.
See, Heitman, he won the race off pit road. Miller was really, really slow out. I'm not sure if he sped getting out or not. What happened to him?
I don't think he made contact with anyone coming off of pit road.
Now, that's weird. I mean, he slid through his box. I was completely zoned out looking at something else. He slid through his box. That's what happened to him there. So he missed getting in his box, and that's what cost him the lead. As Heitman will grab it now, so it's going to be a big thing for Miller to overcome.
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't a speeding penalty, as that's a much heftier fine. But still, you can see the amount of spots that's cost him out on the racetrack. And laps starting to wind down now. And the intensity only going to pick up from here. And the million-dollar question, if we stay green, when do you come down pit road to make sure you can get yourself to the distance here? A lot of questions we're going to have answers to right here on Ghost Racing Network. Want to thank everyone for joining us along for the ride here. Like, share, subscribe, smash the like button, ring the bell. Come home to 6 days of high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on GRN.
Need to text Austin here really quickly.
Gitter Heitman, they're going to restart here on the front row. Teammates, Team Conti representing well here tonight. Second row, you're going to have Stone and Hoffman. That's third and fourth place position. They have been really dicey and spicy at times, putting on a great show. Ready for that pace car to pull off of pit road, or pull down pit road, I should say.
We've seen on the restarts, it's not necessarily that big of a deal, but you definitely do not want to lose a crap ton of positions if you're a driver here. As green flag does go in the air, Heitman gets a really easy jump over the whole entire field. He's not even going to be challenged here at this point at all, it seems.
It almost looked like that was the plan for Heitman to jump up in front of Gitter. But you never really know, but other than the drivers anyhow. It's here we go, challenge here from Cameron Stone in the Sterling Marlin throwback silver bullet out there, going up against the 92 as they have themselves a drag race going down the backstretch, heading into the 3 and 4 complex.
Heitman going to eke out to a little bit of a lead. And I have to keep an eye on Miller, see how he rebounds from all of this, because he is way back there. Slid through his pit box, couldn't get it backed up. That's one thing is drivers, it's hard to get into your pit box, especially when you're on old tires, because they don't have any grip. They don't have any stopping power either. You just have to keep that in mind.
Right, and as he slid through his pit box, I have a child that slid out of bed, Bryce. I will be right back with you.
That's very fine with me. Children, all nuisances of the world sometimes, but needs to go deal with that, which is not that big of a deal. As these guys are about to go 3 wide here. Simpson's thinking about it. He wanted to make that move. I could see him. He was like, do I want to go up there and make a move on him or not? But he decided not to. However, it's going to put Stone in a odd position. He's going to be the odd man out from this lineup now. Because of that, he's going to lose that there, sadly for him. See how Stone will react to that now that he has to go gain these positions back. He's able to slide back in line very, very quickly. Bog. See, he was leading at one point. He's up. He's back to 6th. That's where he actually started. Hoffman, you see him just wrapping that bottom at the moment. Staying down there. Going to try to not... He's actually not going to side draft, surprisingly. Going to get way away from him, so he's trying not to get any side draft there. Let's see if these guys are going to race each other. Looks like they're racing each other pretty clean. As somebody's disappeared, and they're about to come back into frame, possibly. That might end up pretty badly for them. I've saw it happen multiple times where car disappears. I was one of the drivers who, before I got fiber optic internet, I was a blinker. And I know how that is to deal with. They luckily or installed fiber optic. They ran it through the power poles instead of burying it because I don't live in the city. So a lot of the power poles are out in the middle of like farmers' fields and stuff like that, and really easy to get to. They ran them on the power poles, so I don't have to deal with that issue. But that's one of the scariest things to deal with is somebody blinks. Really, at super speedways in front of you, you don't know where they go. Dealt with that. Luckily, Point Broadband came through with the clutch. They got money from the government to expand out here. The government will always save us, even though they steal money from us half the time. They get to take taxes out of it when they don't work at all. Hall still hasn't moved very much. I don't know if he just not had time to really tune his set in or what, but it's just not... It just doesn't seem like the car is handling like he wants it to. I mean, he's just not been up there at all. Hoffman gonna run away from these guys.
In fact, he just put up new fast lap of the race of 41.26. So now flirting with the bottom side, the lower side of the 41-second bracket.
We'll just have to see how much time he loses when the tires do start to fall off. Because sometimes they'll fall off hard, other times they won't fall off hard. It's just, it's a guess most of the time. It's a very, very, very big guess at this point.
Well, the other part of this too in the equation is he, betting on this thing going green the rest of the way. Is he anticipating a caution? All that can be attributing to how he is driving the car right now. Or sometimes, hey, you're out in front, everything's going good in the neighborhood. You just put your foot in it, take the rearview mirror, throw it off the window, or throw it out the window, and just drive the wheels off that thing. And that could be what Hoffman's doing right now. In fact, he just put up another quick lap of 41.29, and everyone else was 0.2 of a lap slower, if not more, that last time by. So he's got the dial set to kill in that TRD.
Yeah, so these guys just going to keep on riding with each other. Really, fuel, the only thing I can think of is back here, these guys are saving a little bit more fuel running like this. Maybe they can hop Hoffman. It's question mark, maybe. But
we almost... Sorry to cut you off there. We almost had a car in the wall there. That one almost got took into breakfast, lunch, and dinner, courtesy of the 91. I don't know how they kept those two cars off each other. This back here, of course, in that 12th place position. Then you have the 18 Bobby Anderson as well. Bryce, there's another car that I don't think has performed as well as, at least as I thought we would see tonight. Perhaps maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeve here as we get into later portions of this race as Bobby Anderson runs in that 15th place position.
Just have to see. Maybe these guys just decide to, hey, maybe I'm just going to lay off. We have 200 laps. If I go to the back of the pack, it's kind of like choosing to go to the back of the pack at Dega to a certain extent. I mean, you can gain your positions better than Dega can. Just realize, hey, I'm just going to get away. I'm going to keep my car in the race and be able to actually, drive it instead of just crashing it early on. And then realize later on, okay, now I'm going to actually race the car the way that I know it can be raced, which that's a viable option here, as Hoffman's actually just set some flying laps. He's running a 41.53. That's almost 2/10 faster than Heitman behind him here.
Yeah, in fact, his fastest lap is 2 to 3/10 faster than almost anyone inside the top 5. So he is just on another planet right now, as that margin continues to grow over Heitman, now approaching a 1.5 over the second place car.
See what the fall off looks like with these guys. I'll give them, so the fuel window said to be 45 to 50. I'll give them 53 laps, maybe 54, squeaking that out. Fuel window would be open, maybe. That's pushing it here. I know lap 150, they'll be easily good to the end. It's just when do you pit? It's just a question.
Right, that's the $1 million question. Now, the other side of that too, if you do pit sooner than later, you have to play that fuel mileage game, and that means less shifting, correct? Keeping this car in 5th gear, not downshifting, is going to help you get the extra fuel mileage out of this next gen, correct?
Yeah, keeping the RPMs low will save you more fuel. The only issue is you're not going to have the braking to get into the corner, so you're going to have to set your brake bias maybe a little bit more aggressive to the rear. Rotation won't be as good, so you're going to be getting tight, which brake can help with that. But it will be helping with fuel mileage because you're just turning lower RPMs, that's with any car. That's why you see a lot of the times when, I know a lot of people drive automatics, so I drive a manual, but automatics, when you're on the highway, you're going to be low RPMs, lowest you can go with not bogging the car. And then when you go to pass somebody, it's going to downshift automatically. That's for more power, but the lower the RPMs you can turn, the more fuel that you're going to be able to save on the cars. It's just, it's a balance. With me driving a manual every day is when I'm on the highway, really almost anywhere I'm driving probably a little bit lower RPMs than I should. I'm trying to drive the higher gear, but lower RPMs will always save you a little bit more fuel, even if it's not a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hashtag save the manuals. I thought I was one of the only ones that drove a manual, so good to know we're in the same group of, I'm going to call it elites. That's a dying breed, the ones of us that drive a manual, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Look at the Blue Angels out there in formation as they were going through that corner, almost 5 wide.
Yeah, back to what you said about manuals, they are a dying breed, especially with my generation. I'm 21. I don't even know what generation I am. I think Gen Z, or it might be on the very edge of that, maybe. Not a lot of people drive manuals anymore, which I like driving manuals. The one thing I can't do in my car is heel toe, because my Subaru, the transmission wall is way too close to your foot, and the gas pedal is also further back than the brake, which is kind of weird for that, but it's definitely fun driving a manual. And you do manuals nowadays don't get better gas mileage than the automatics, but mine gets 1 more mile better than the automatic version of it, so it's kind of one thing with it too. But it's always fun driving manual. It makes you feel more connected with the car.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you just have so much more control over the vehicle, especially when you get in dicey situations, or when I used to live up in the Northeast, in the snow belt regions, lake effect snow. I'll take a manual any day over an automatic, as these two Team Conti cars have teamed up again as they try to run down Clayton Hoffman, who has set a blistering pace out here at the front of this thing. Let's see if Derek Heitman and Gitter can work together to run him down. Last time by, though, Hoffman slightly quicker. In fact, no, the tides changed that lap. Hoffman of 42.07 to Heitman and Gitter's 42.02.
These two, if they're gonna nip away, it's gonna be very, very slowly at it. It's gonna be just maybe a half maybe not even. It's gonna be maybe hundredths a lap, if that. Just because they're running so fast already that it has to be just a big bobble for them to gain a lot of time. So,
Yeah, a huge. Sorry to cut you off there, buddy, but a big chunk in just a small amount of laps. But I guess the one thing that can play a factor, how much in the tire department did Hoffman use up, jumping out there to that lead? We'll find out here as these laps continue to wind on. But from a team standpoint, I mean, you got two really strong Connie cars right where you want them in second and third place position. They're really controlling, this main pack up here at the front now that Hoffman is, severed himself from it. And he's way out of the draft. He's pretty much in his own county as that gap continues to grow. I am completely astonished by the pace Hoffman is setting right now without any draft support, as Heitman and Glitter are doing everything they can to try and run him down.
this is kind of what happens when you get out ahead of somebody so much. Is I talked about this earlier. Kind of once you get ahead, you're ahead. As 6/10 is still kind of the area. This race is kind of made me question it. But once you get out at a track like this, away from everybody, you can pretty much just kind of set sail at a certain point. As Stone just now reconnects. That was odd there. I thought that was going to end up badly for us, but he kind of just reappeared out of nowhere to a certain extent there at the moment.
Yeah, that's the one thing in sim racing, that we have that can, really throw a monkey wrench into your plans out there in a racetrack. When a car disappears, it reappears right in your cockpit, and bad things happen quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, you do not want to be the driver. You don't want to be behind them. That's the more terrifying thing, is because when you're behind them, you can't see them, and you're like, where'd they go? And then they just pop out of nowhere. And a lot of the times, it's right in your freaking lap, and you're like, are you kidding me at this moment? It's annoying. I know how that feels.
Yeah, in fact, I had that happen to me back when you were calling the race over on the Ghost Cup side of things at Talladega, of all places. That was when I was literally up in the catch fence. So I've been on that side of the coin. It is not fun, as it continues to be Hoffman, Heitman, Gitter, Stone, and Simpson. That's the top five here from Auto Club Speedway. Is this group of competitors have put on one heck of a show thus far in the Amazon Warehouse 400. The last great house that Penske built opens its doors in 1997. Another one of these tracks that I wish they wouldn't have messed with the configuration on. Bryce, I think a big part of the reason why they decided to change, this track was, part of, from the old car where the performance on the 1.5-mile racetracks, just was on the downside of things, and now the next gen, the one thing they got right, I think, is the package that races so well here, but yet this racetrack is going to go away, come back in a short track configuration, but at least its legacy lives on here in iRacing. And these guys doing it, these guys and girls out there tonight are putting on a heck of a show.
And one of the issues with the old gens, which I stepped away after Gordon stopped racing for a while, but they went to a 550 package. They went lower horsepower, higher downforce, and it made them race close together. But the issue is you couldn't pass anymore. That was the big thing with it. They did bump up the horsepower, which apparently in the next gen, that was like a last minute decision to go up to 650 horsepower. They were going to stick with the horsepower that they had before, and the cars used to have 900, but they stopped doing that, which I think they should go back to it, because one, that's fast as crap. Two, it's also harder to handle and would also fix a lot of the tire wear issues that they have at short tracks with the tires not wearing at all.
Yeah, you just can't stand out of the gas coming out of the corner at Martinsville anymore. That would certainly change the racing up. I agree with you 110% there. But I really would have thought they would have went to the higher horsepower a lot sooner. I can't believe it's been, this many years now, but yet here we are with, when I think about racing, I would like to think, the current latest and greatest car having the most horsepower available, but that's not the case. You got to go back to the Romeo R7 engines and to get that 600 or that 900 horsepower and 10,000 RPM redline.
Guys, I've now caught Hoffman a little bit more. They shaved off about 5/10. Hoffman might be taking it easier to a certain extent. He's probably still driving hard. I don't really think that he's changed his line. I think it's just maybe a draft is starting to happen a little bit better now. These two are just staying tucked in behind each other, which that's all that they really can do at this moment. You can't really go and try to pass somebody just because you're probably going to get railroad on the outside. There is one more pit stop, so they have to keep that in mind for sure.
As long as that green flag stays in the air, and we know how fast that can change, Bryce. I mean, it's never over until it's over. It'd be great if Stone could get up there or get at least those two Mustangs that are working just behind Gitter. If they could all form up and get a four-car train working there. And here's a pass here. Gitter now working to the inside of Heitman. Perhaps this is a team call or this is just for position. Going to see if switching up the running order allows those two Mustangs to run quicker. And here comes Stone. He's going to try to take advantage of the situation as he dive bomb Gitter or Heitman getting into the corner.
One thing that could be a changeup of is Heitman. He was leading that. He's also burning a little bit more fuel, so that could have been a fuel call to keep him on the same strategy to where they only have to take the same amount. But if you're taking 4 tires, well, no, 4 tires, you can get a full tank of fuel almost, but they're not going to be needing to get a full tank of fuel. They'll be needing to get probably, yeah, they can probably go to, yeah, I'm thinking they can get enough fuel just from the 4 tire changes. They won't have to be getting more fuel than that at all there. I think they'll be fine after that point. Hoffman will still maintain the lead here. He's just going to stretch it out just a little bit more. Actually, stop stretching it out a little bit. He's been caught just a tad. He's not getting absolutely ran down to a certain extent, but see that lead is now about to a 1/10. 6/10 will be the major draft point, so got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, Hoffman's doing a great job of maintaining that lead, that gap that he's had over the competition. I really thought once he shot out there like that he would burn him up, kind of like what we've seen on the initial start of this race when Jason Taylor in the 41 just took it to the high side and just put the coals to it and took it to the front, but not the case. Hoffman has been able to be fast here with phenomenal lap times to start this run out, but yet able to maintain the pace as Gitter and Hoffman, to your point, they're slowly starting to claw back into him, but it's hundredths, a lap. It's nothing substantial.
Yeah, again, pit stops maybe anytime soon. Just have to see when do they want to pull the trigger. I don't think you're going to run it dry. I think you're going to try to figure out, it's really whoever goes first. It's got to be somebody pulls the trigger to begin with, and then I think we'll see everybody come to pit road after that. It's just, when do you do it is the question.
Yeah, who's the first one to blink? And, is Hoffman here a sitting duck? Does everyone just do the opposite of what he does? How many times have we seen that come into play when you have a dominant car out on the racetrack or, with a sizable advantage, and then everyone just does the opposite of what you do to throw you off your game or to dethrone you from the win. That's something else that Hoffman has to worry about.
Yeah. They'll come, if they're going to run it to the end, they'll come around lap 180, 183, 184. That will be the maximum they can go on fuel, but don't think that you could go any longer than that. You're going to run out of fuel.
And obviously, if you go that long, lap, 180, 184, you're not going to need a full tank to go the rest of the distance. Obviously, if you put 4 tires on the race car, you know, well, there you are, leaving more time on pit road. Do perhaps some of these drivers, do they toy with 2 tires here? Is that possible?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the difference is with the 2 tires. I mean, I, but if you're gonna pit, that is going to be an option because right side tires wear more than anything else. At
Right.
any track. So you could maybe do 2 tires and drop the jack and go if you're going to take not a lot of fuel. But one thing too, if you take a decent amount of fuel, that'll also keep the rear end down if you're helping with the loose. If you're loose, it'll help with it, but I don't really think anybody's too loose at all to a certain extent. Everybody else seems to be pretty fine, but they're catching Hoffman here decently quick, and Hoffman's going to come down pit road now. I think that was a pretty late move from him to a certain extent. Stone will come with him, though.
Yeah, so the leader's the first one to blink as you were put. Oh, did you see that? Bobby Anderson almost cooked the barrels on the entry to pit road. A last-minute maneuver assured that Mustang of a death. Oh, my God. Is now the Heitman and the 97 Hotsuma get it on pit road. You see the left side up. Does the jack drop and we go, or is it a 4-tire change? It appears to be 4 tires on the 92. That's the call. As he is down and away, and Heitman should be as well.
Yep, they are. They come down pit road, too. You do not want to speed getting in, but you do want to get as much time as you can. One thing that I feel like I'm a little bit decent at, or pretty good at, is if I know I'm getting tires, I'm getting all I can getting on pit road. I don't care if the tires are smoking getting in. I want to be getting as much time gained getting on pit road that I can. It's one thing that can mean a lot for position-wise. Oh, Heitman slid too far. He's had to back up. That's going to hurt his time there a little bit. See if he can come out equal with Gitter is the best question I have right now. I'm trying to look at the 2. Looks like he's going to drop. Gitter is going to go ahead of him just a little bit. I don't think they're too hurt, but Hotsuma is going to need to come down pit road too. But where does... Who was it? Who was the leader? I forgot now. Who was the leader now?
I believe you're talking the 97.
Before it was. No, it wasn't. Who was it before the 97?
Oh, the Toyota Miller.
I was going to say Miller. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but Miller does come out. So Miller's still here. Oh, so it was Hoffman. That's who it was. That's what I was thinking about. Hoffman, he kind of actually grew his lead. Wow, he pitted only 1 lap before them, but he did grow his lead over these guys. There's going to be 30 laps left here. I have a feeling we got Hastings is down. Some other people will probably run it a little bit longer than other people. Maybe try to bank on a caution coming out is one thing I can think of right now.
I don't know why I said Miller. I was having the same brain fart you were there, but yeah, he is really improved upon his lead on that pit stop there, that pit sequence. As here comes the 97 now down pit road. Hard on the binders here. You want to get all that you can, like Bryce said. You just don't want to get caught speeding because that is game over. Very costly penalty as we have a new fast lap out on the racetrack. Ralph Hutchinson in the 15 just goes a 41.19.
I say I looked at the side of my screen, and for SDK it lights up purple at 41.19. That's faster than the next closest one is 41.27. That was Stone. Stone ran a 41.27 last lap. Johnny has yet to come to pit road. He probably actually can't get to pit road even if he wanted to because he has so many people around him that he won't be able to. He will be able to after the 33 gets to him.
He almost has to give up some time here on the racetrack to get down to the bottom so he can make that transition to pit lane. He is being scored the leader, but he does not have enough juice in the tank. He is going to have to pit before this one is said and done.
Let's see. Jamie's down pit road. But Kaufman, he did extend his lead a lot. He was down to about a second. Now it's almost 3 seconds now over Stone. Gitter and Heitman slid through his box. He had to back up a little bit as Gitter just ran a new fastest lap of 41.05. Definitely some more changes were probably made on that car. I don't think the track temps really dropped. It's probably stayed the exact same as it stayed the same. Still 137, so it's a really, really, really hot track at the moment. This. Let's see, when does the 63 come down? I think he's coming down this lap. Still staying low on the track here, so yeah, he's coming down pit road at this moment here. So,
smooth transition to pit road there. Doesn't lock up the tires.
Hixenbach will get the lead now. He will inherit it. He'll have to come down pit road probably within the next 10 laps here, 50 laps max, or 53 laps maximum, so he can go lap 185. I don't think he's going to do that. That'll be kind of a bad choice for him. Sean need to come down. These guys behind him, though, will be good on their pit stop. They will not have to come down pit road anymore. They were all 4 tires and fuel. Might as well just go ahead and get as much fuel in the car as you can. You just don't want the car or you just don't want more fuel than you need, because that'll add just some more time to your pit stop.
Yeah, that's it right there. You know, the game of just, how when to pit, how much fuel to take, tires, no tires, 2 tires, as we talked about earlier in the race. Well, I can tell you this. That driver, the 92, Clayton Hoffman, just seems to be making all the right choices, especially in the second phase of this race, is he's going to have a sizable lead once Hixenbach and Sean O'Brien Jr. come to pit road, is I believe the 57 of Stone is over 3 seconds behind the 92 as they run right now.
I think that there was a lot of time gained pit road wise. That's the one place I think Hoffman gained a lot. And he only pitted 1 lap sooner, but his pit time overall was 49 seconds. Stone's was 58.28, but looking at Gitter and Heitman, they were 50.73. So almost 2 seconds slower on pit road overall. Their pit stops were pretty similar, but that's the big difference here so far.
Yeah, the 92 just getting it done on pit road, getting everything he can on the money stop when it counts, not getting caught speeding, and all signs point right now, at least, to Clayton Hoffman fighting his way to victory lane here, but we still have plenty of time left in this race. 24 to go. It only takes 1 caution flag to completely change the outcome and the complexion of this race as our leader goes past the start-finish line, clicks another one off the ticker here. Having a great run thus far in that TRD. There's 2 cars still left out on the racetrack. That's going to be Hixenbach and O'Brien Jr. in the 68 and 65. And Bryce, you can see just how much time they're giving up out on the racetrack on those 4 old tires compared to, Hoffman and Stone, Gitter and company on those new Dr. Feelgoods. I mean, he is bleeding a ton right now.
Yeah, I pulled up the lap time so y'all can see him now. It's next to their name. They just ran a 43.39, and Hoffman ran a 41.34. So these tires are definitely a huge factor, and right now they're just hoping for a caution to come out. That's the only thing that they're trying to do. But if it doesn't happen, then it's pretty annoying for them.
But hey, if you don't have the speed, to win the race, I tip my hat to the guy that says, hey, I'm going to roll the dice here, go Las Vegas mode a little bit, and try to see if I can get some luck to go my way and go out here and win this thing. And that's certainly what Bryson and Sean are doing, is they're still out there right now. I mean, hey, you're still out here leading laps, still out here getting your sponsor some good getting your sponsor some airtime, getting Chevrolet out there, doing all the right things as a driver, here by staying out on the racetrack. And you never know. You could have the lucky rabbit's foot in the race car. As now click off another lap on the board. And those pit stops from these two Chevrolets should be coming sooner than later, as now just 21 laps remain in competition.
Pit stop will still be needed, and I think that car is getting really, really tight. It's just going to be, when do you come down pit road now? I mean, do you just run it dry and hope for a caution? I mean, he's probably going to get passed by Hoffman here just because of the time difference. I mean, Hoffman's so much faster. But they're actually, Gitter has now caught Stone. These two are probably going to work with each other, maybe just try to catch Hoffman. I don't think that they can, though, just because it's such a big difference. He's 4 seconds ahead of both of them here. And for me, that's just too much time to make up.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of time to overcome. And you can see, Gitter apparently feels the same way as versus working with Stone. He is going for the position. He's got the preferred line here as they come to the start and finish line, shooting out down into the corner. Gitter going to take the spot, slide up in front of that dark horse being piloted by Stone. That's going to get Gitter into the third place position, final podium spot. And in fact, once the 68 and the 90, once the 68 comes down pit road, Hoffman will regain the lead, who was the leader before this last round of pit stops. Continue to keep it on Patrick Gitter here in the 21. Having a great showing tonight once again for Team Connie. Backing up the performance he had in the very first one of these races a few months back. In fact, he was your winner. Had a great performance, and then trying to back it up here once again and go 2 for 2 is now Hoxenbaugh on pit road. Last car to pit. That's going to turn the lead over to Clayton Hoffman in the 92.
Finally, he came down pit road. He probably realized it's not going to happen. That'll give the lead back to Hoffman. He has almost a 4-second lead now, but I don't think Gitter can chase him down with 18 laps left. It's going to be really hard for him to do that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Patrick Gitter is, I think that's too much time, not enough laps left to do it. But then again, these drivers have made liars out of me at times. It made me look really dumb, too. But certainly it looks like a very tall task for Gitter, Stone, Heitman, Matt DeCiani. Where did he come from? Matt DeCiani suddenly back inside the top 5. Remember, he started up front and he fell back a ton the beginning portion of this race, Bryce, and then suddenly he's back here inside the top 10.
See that Gitter's shaving off some time. He was 0.2 faster again that lap. So I don't know if Hoffman could be taking it a little bit easy. He doesn't have that much older tires. It's only 1 lap older tires than these guys, so I don't think he's burned them off unless he did somehow.
I mean, that last run, Hoffman did such a good job of, jumping out to that sizable lead over the field, and then not only that, but maintaining it. But numbers don't lie, and you're right. Gitter continues to be faster than Hoffman. That gap now under 4 seconds, and you can monitor that in the ticker. The left-hand side of your screen is now flirting with 3.5 seconds back to Gitter.
Cool. I know now it's kind of stopped there, so maybe Hoffman decided, hey, I got to pick it up a little bit. Now, one thing that could happen here is a caution will change everything, which I saw that happen before, that people will have the lead and have pretty much the win in the bag, and then last thing is a caution comes out, and then it throws a whole wrench in their plan. They're like, you have to be absolutely kidding me. I've had some races taken away because of that. Also won some races because of that. It really just depends on what side you were on. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're like, this is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's funny sometimes how those things go your way and lead to wins, and other times on the other side of the coin it just robs you blind. And in fact, you know, my only league win was on a field invert in the All-Star race. Bryce, you were there for that. You were on the call for that race. And just funny how things work out like that. I got that car out there in clean air, and restart after restart. I think you were more surprised than I was, but just to your point there, how sometimes certain things go your way, you know, weekends and other weekends, you know, they're not good to you. They kind of, you know, make your blood boil a little bit. Is now 13 laps remaining here. Is Gitter continues to close the gap, but I think time is going to expire before he gets there. Is he still 3.2 seconds behind Hoffman?
He's still shaving off some time, but Hoffman doesn't have to worry too much. Even if he loses like a tenth a lap, he's still going to come home with the win. But you don't really want to be losing any time, just because it's more of a, you get a little bit more nervous every time you see it go down, and you kind of start to drive the car a little too hard. But I would just want to, I want to keep the lead. I mean, I just keep an eye on it if you're Hoffman. I wouldn't be too worried about it at this moment right now.
Yeah, let the spotter and the crew chief do their job. You just keep your head out the window, stay after it, and you definitely don't want to back down too much, because I've actually, you know, it's happened to me on road courses where I'm, hey, you got 15 seconds between you and the guy in front of you, back it down, and I back it down so much I make a mistake. Not that one of these guys would do that, but that is a possibility. The other solution, Hoffman's just simply managing the gap here. You know, maybe it's 3 seconds, 2.8 seconds, whatever he sees, whatever he gets inside that window of comfort, he picks it up a little bit. But nonetheless, Gitter really now took a big chunk out of that lead last time by, as it's now within 3 seconds, 2.80 back to Gitter. In fact, you've seen him coming into the frame before the 92 fired off into the corner.
I think at this point he would possibly have to be shaving off 2/10, maybe. That's being generous. Yeah, about, let's see, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, he'll have to shave off 2/10 a lap, which is asking. That's asking a lot. That's to even be close. I don't even think that would. No, that wouldn't even get him there. He would have to be really, really, really booking it. Just, I think it's gonna be too short or too little, too late for him. Even though he's gaining just a tad. Heitman's having to battle around here right now.
I was gonna say, if there was a caution that was going to loom or going to happen, it's right here in this cluster of cars. Because while we've been focusing on Hoffman and Gitter, I mean, Derek Heitman has been back here in the World War II style trenches going after it with Robert Miller. I mean, they have been throwing some slide jobs on each other. They've been baling some hay and everything else while we've been covering up here at the front of this piece. Is Heitman now in that 4th place position? His other teammate Benefiel has that 3rd place position, but here comes Miller once again. The longer we run on these tires, the better that 10 car gets, and I can promise you He wants to spoil the podium for some of these guys up here at the front before this thing's all said and done.
Hyman falling back just a little bit. You don't want to lose any positions here if you're Heitman. These two don't want to be making contact with each other. You might want to be watching this side draft because I saw side drafts end up bad just because netcode. You get close enough to a guy and it just sucks him right around, and also you'll make contact when you never actually touched him before. I've been on the other end of that where I've been touched by somebody and we never actually made contact with each other, and it sends them around.
That was really close right there. And since you threw that netcode statement out there, now I'm thinking about all the times it's happened to me. And that's the other thing with sim racing. In real life, you don't have to worry about netcode, but it can certainly show its ugly face here on the servers at time. And one of the best ways to set it off, side drafting, as you just said, is it's still really hot and heavy for that 5th place position. And here comes Hutsuma on the outside, getting that dark horse wound up as he closes in on the back of Heitman.
Heitman just try to gain as many positions as he can. Gitter's still trying to slowly eke out stuff. I mean, he's almost 2/10 faster a lap, but it's going to be 6 laps to go, and that's not going to be enough. He'll have to be 3/10 a lap now faster. But if Hoffman blows a corner and gets in the wall and it knocks a toe in, maybe that'll give him a chance to get up there, but that has to be an absolute just corner that he just blows straight on by. It can't be one where he just misses it a little bit. He has to absolutely ruin that corner.
Yeah, it would have to be an absolute catastrophe inside the cockpit of that 92 to where you said, make contact with the wall, knock the toe out of the race car, or just something absurd happening on the racetrack to get Gitter back up here into the picture to contend for this win as we take another lap off the board. Only 4 remaining now. Or excuse me, 5 to go. Here from Auto Club Speedway in the Amazon Warehouse 400. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us along for the ride here on Ghost Racing Network. As we go back now to the battle between, I believe that's going to be the 21 of Patrick Gitter in that 2nd place position, and his teammate has caught him, and they are going to duke it out for P2.
These two are going to go at it. Both Team Conti drivers. We're going to get side by side with each other. And Adam will run down the track, just try to get away from the side draft. Let's see if he can get this position. Looks like he's going to easily get this on Gitter. Miller is just going to absolutely sail it on in that high line. Adam, just hop up the high line. He'll easily get that position now. So unless a caution comes out, I do not think that Hoffman is in any danger here to lose the lead here at all.
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing that's really impressed me a lot with Lieutenant Miller in that Mustang. When he does take it to the top shelf up there, that car, that dark horse, gets a crazy run, and you can see him now take that momentum all the way to the bottom, but he's not going to have enough to clear Gitter into the corner.
Miller is going to try to he's going to arrow shove the 83 up the track. Miller is going to be able to, oh my gosh.
You can't park there. Oh my God.
He almost, I think he actually made a little bit of contact there.
Oh, there's contact.
Now that's a bump to get him in the corner, but I think that the 21, he tried to get clear of him. He wasn't quite clear, and I think he might have gotten turned a little bit, but he realized, hey, I'm not clear, so I'm going to decide to turn back down the track, and then Hotsuma gave him a big shot to get him by him, but that almost ended up really badly. That could have been the caution that we were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want to see if you're Matt Hoffman. I mean, that would have made it better than a Keebler Elf that got demoted to Fudge Packer, a caution when it came out right there.
See, Hoffman, he definitely doesn't want to see that. But while this was happening, they actually managed to chase down Hoffman, but he's almost 2 seconds ahead, so he should be easily able to take home this win. So white flag will go in the air one more time around for Clayton Hoffman, and he'll come home with the win here unless he has his wheel disconnect or pedals break or somehow magically runs out of fuel here, which is not possible in the sim.
Or his cat steps on the keyboard and Alt F4s him, God forbid. So down the backstretch. Go ahead. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, he'll go down the backstretch here. It's Adam. Looks like he's going to have to deal with Robert. So I actually look at these two. What does Miller do in this last corner? These two will get side by side with each other. Now this will be a race down to the line. This will be side draft heaven here. Hoffman, he'll take home the win here, but who's going to get second place? Miller's going to try to get a side draft here on the 83. A little bit of contact there, and it will be, looks like the 83 at the line for second. Miller will come home third. Hoffman will come home with the win here. Hoetzema fourth, and Gitter fifth.
What a race there at the end between Benefield and Miller. I mean, that was thousandths of a second that separated that car. But the man in Southern California that goes full-blown Hollywood mode, Clayton Hoffman, in that TRD-powered Camry, gets the win here in prime time. That was absolutely just a stunning performance there. You see the 76 of Heitman coming up there, showing him some love, as that was one heck of a drive from Clayton Hoffman here tonight.
All these drivers just celebrating the wins that they got. It was a respectful race overall. It's good to see. A lot of the time, sadly, you don't see a lot of respect happen with some drivers in some races, but this league has been really good with racing each other clean throughout the race. Both the races that we've done for him. Watch him do his burnout here.
They're going to burn it down, get the rest of the good out of those good years here at the start-finish line. Go on board with him as he's going to rip some donuts and tear up the infield as well. Why not?
So doing the burnout right in the middle here of this big logo that they got. Track that's no longer going to be in NASCAR anymore, so have some fun with it. They'll probably keep it on the iRacing game though, that's for sure. But I'll pull up the finishing order here now. We'll bring in the top 3 drivers. There we go, those are their results. So we will start with the third place driver in Robert Miller. Let me drag him in here, find him. There he is. Let me get him. Hey, Robert, this is Matt and Bryson booth. You got a copy, man?
Hello?
Yeah, we got you there, man. So you come home third. You know, how did the race go for you overall, though, man? Because you led at one point in the race and kind of had a bad pit stop there. But, you know, how did it go for you overall, though?
It was a good race. I definitely think the team definitely had the best car here. Like I could push it when I want and really wouldn't have any issues. Yeah, just like small mistakes on my part would put me back there, but then like the car is good enough to where I can drive through the field just fine. Just take my time with it. Well, I think I definitely had the pace to peg up to Clayton if I could get through.
You know, so how hard was it to pass at this track? Because it's kind of like a super speedway in a certain style here.
It's definitely momentum based. If everybody's on the same tires and everybody's trying to run the same speed, it's definitely a momentum kind of thing. It's gain momentum, then use it wisely. And then slide jobs happen and people don't do it right. You get squeezed in the wall and all kinds of nonsense happens. So that's basically what it is.
So how did the car handle from, you know, the start of the run to the end of the run for you at least? Because this track was really, really hot and slick today. It was 137 on the track.
The start of the run, it feels like you have all the grip in the world, but that goes away after like 10 laps, 15 laps, then it really starts to just slide a little by little here as the run goes. And if you don't do it right, you're just sliding. You just feel you'd have no grip. But if you take care of your stuff enough and in the right way, it'll like to stick where you need it when you need it. And it was sticking pretty good at the end of that race. I was able to drive on the outside like nobody else was on 3 and 4, and I was really getting runs in, but I just couldn't. I couldn't take advantage of it.
I was going to say, running this track is definitely momentum based, and it's hard to pass. You got to have an absolutely massive run to pass them. But before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, sure. VRS and Altus Engineering, yeah, it's pretty much them. Been this way for around 4 years now, and it's been great so far.
All right, man. Well, I will let you go. Good job coming home third tonight, man.
Thank you.
That was Robert Miller, the third place driver. We will bring in the second place driver in Adam Benefield. Let me find where he is. In Conti driver, so I need to move him up here. Hey, Adam, this is Bryce and Matt in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah.
Man, so you edge out Robert Miller there at the line, but you were on a heater there towards the end of the run. But, how did the race go for you overall, though, man?
Yeah, I mean, we were moving there at the end, kind of was decided to pit at the same time Lucas and Robert did, and it just worked out that way so we could go hard at the end and whatnot. But it was fun. There was a lot more tire management than I anticipated. I think that was for a lot of people. But our car was pretty good, honestly. Brandon Hastings built a rocket. We were a little tight on entry, but man, we had drive off for days. We could really get, once we get it pointed in the center, we could just mat it and go. And I think it really showed on the long runs. We never really did get to really show what it could do. I really felt like race would have came down between me and Robert there, but never really got an opportunity to show that.
Yes. So how hard was it to pass at this track here because it's so momentum based?
Well, it was a pain in the ass, for being honest. Yeah, sorry, I got a notification that popped up. We figured it was going to be spread out. I guess with how hot it was, the track never really did spread out that much. You could run the top, but it was sketchy as hell, especially through 1 and 2. But if you really had to have a big run to pass someone on the inside, and then try to catch them sleeping on the outside, but it was definitely a difficult thing to navigate.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I've driven this track, and it's one of the most annoying things is you got to make a move, and then you can't, and then you don't make it, and then it's just like 3 to 4 people go right outside of you because the draft is such a big factor. But before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, I've been watching it, man. We are the Team Conti. Me, Cam, Bryson, and me, Cameron, Dustin. We are Team Conti. The Getter and them are Zodiac Dynamic or whatever the heck it's called. So they are a part of TCSP, and we thank everybody over there. So big thanks to them. But that was it. Really, it's not that big of a deal. It was just I kept sitting there hearing Team Conti, and I'm like, no, we're Team Conti. There's something else.
Yeah, we're probably so used to just seeing paint schemes we automatically associate it with it.
Yeah, that's what Cam said. He's like, hell, they got Team Conti all over the cars. So I was like, well, that's fair. But no, they were strong. They did a hell of a job tonight. They were strong. And the craziest thing is all 4 of us, including Hastings. I think me and Hastings and Dustin were on the same thing, but then everybody else was on something completely different. So they did something on their own, and they did a hell of a job of working together and building something over there, because all of our stuff from January and when we came here in A Open wasn't it. So shout out to them. They did a great job. But yeah, everybody at Team Conti Sim Performance, Bobby for putting this badass league back together. I don't know if I can cuss. I'm sorry, if I'm not allowed to, but that's what it is. It's a great league. You guys for the broadcast, y'all do a great job. Really great job. It's like watching NBC broadcasting and it's not a Fox broadcast. So y'all do a great job. A lot of detail. Bryce, you seem like you know what you're talking about. So you're not just blowing hot smoke up everybody's rear end. So yeah, man, that was fun. Ready to get back to it. I wish these races were closer together and not once a month, but hopefully we can get it back rolling full time next year.
Man, well, I'll let you go. Good job coming home second tonight, though, man.
Yep, appreciate it.
Was Adam, the second place driver. We will bring in the race winner and Clayton Hoffman. Hey, Clayton, this is Matt and Bryson Booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir.
Man, so you come home with the win there. You stretched it out after that last pit stop. But, how did the race go for you overall, though, man?
Yeah, I had some ups and downs. I kind of dozed off in the first stage and almost took somebody out, but instead of taking him out, it took me out, which that's good since it was my fault. So went to the back. There wasn't a ton of cars in the field tonight, and a couple of them already messed up their strategy there in the first stage and went a lap or two down because you had to save a little gas, save a lot of tire really, and I had some blown tires out there, so I was able to manage my stuff, make it through, got back to the front, and then I just picked really the right time to go there in that last stage. There's some guys out there, they'll race you really hard, and at a hot track, you're gonna have a lot of fall off, and the track is still not cooling off to where you can really race somebody and not hurt your tires too much. I just decided to go and to see what my car had as far as pushing the tires off it, and I was able to hold the lead. I kept about a second advantage, and pit a little early, about a lap before most of the guys, and I think Robert and Adam, I think they pit like 5 or 6 after me, but I had such a big time advantage there that I was able to overcome that.
So how hard was this track to drive? Because it was really, really hot. It was 137 degrees.
Yeah, that first stage was really it was pretty tough there. The last 15 laps or so. I don't think I had as hard a time as some other guys, but yeah, it was definitely really challenging. I mean, you got to when you drive it. I mean, if you're trying to keep your rear tires, planted, you just feel like you're giving enough gas to just maintain speed, like you're not going forward, and it's a big change from where these cars have so much drag and such wide tires where you can really mat it, especially in like Q. I mean, I was just maintaining about 30% throttle there the last couple laps, just trying to bring it home and not crash.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like these guys were really, really dancing around and running this track. I know that's one thing to deal with is you try to keep your foot in it so much, but it's the rear end's already stepping out. But if you don't keep your foot in it, it's such a momentum-based track that you're going to get ran down and then ran by. But what was going through your head that last pit stop, especially when you saw the gap that you had when you came out? Because you gained a lot of time on pit road there.
I completely botched entry by braking too early. I was worried I lost it. I had to lose at least a second, if not second and a half on entry. So yeah, I was worried that I botched it too bad. But yeah, I mean, the car was just good enough to where my tires hung on long enough to where I could maintain the gap and stay ahead of everybody. So it was really just the pace of the car that got me through there and me maintaining that lead before I pit.
All right, man, well, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Bobby and everybody helping him putting on the league. It was a pretty fun race. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think we're going to, what is it, Indy next?
I'm not completely sure.
I forget what race we're going to, but there's a bunch of tracks I like coming up, including Legacy, Texas. So it'll be fun to make a setup for there. So I'm looking forward to coming back for the next race. And thanks to Nitro Racing for having me. If anyone doesn't know, I build the A car for Nitro at nitro-racing.com. So if you need any setup stuff there, you can always reach out over at Nitro Racing, or you can reach out to Russ if you can join the Discord.
It is July 6th. They're at Texas. That's the next race, and then they go to Indy after that. So you will have Texas, the next race on July 6th.
Texas will be that'll be a good track. It'll be it's kind of like it's the closest thing to Atlanta, but it's not really Atlanta. You got such a tight exit off of 4, but you got really high speeds. You have fall off, but you don't have as much fall off as old Atlanta. So that'll be a fun track. Be a lot of contact there, and there's probably going to be there's the potential off of 4 for you get some guys racing up front. Someone makes a mistake, you have a big one there pretty easy.
Definitely for sure. But man, I will let you go. Good job coming home with the win tonight, man.
Appreciate it.
It's Clayton Hoffman, the race winner. I will go over the finishing order. Clayton Hoffman first, Adam Benefield second, Robert Miller third, Lucas Hoetzema fourth, fifth, Patrick Gitter sixth, Derek Heitman seventh, Cameron Stone eighth, Matt DeCiani ninth, Jacob Simpson 10th, Ralph Hutchinson 11th, Johnny Avila 12th, Brandon Hastings 13th, Ryan Jones 14th, Daniel Simmons 15th, Bobby Anderson 16th, Jim Schofield 17th, Dustin Hall 18th, Jamie Knopf, I think I said that name probably wrong, 19th, Matt Long 20th, Sean O'Brien 21st, Bryson Hicksonbog 22nd, Ben Tracy 23rd, Stephen Williams 24th, Jolene Sims 25th, Danielo Cohillo, I probably butchered that too, 26th, Neil Pearson 27th, Charles Eaton 28th, Ryan Strunk 29th, Kevin 30th is Jason Taylor, and 31st was Isaac Singleton. I think that was race control. 2 of those guys are probably RC, but that was not a bad race overall. Matt, what do you say the racing was like there? Because these guys did keep it pretty clean overall, though.
Hey, these guys put on one heck of a show for their second installment going out here, to Southern California and kind of having the Hollywood theme tonight. These guys put on one heck of a show. The track temperature, I think, was a little bit of a wild card. I certainly didn't anticipate it being that high. And, the tire strategy, just listening to how these drivers broke the race down, talked about it being really momentum based, and then how you drove this racetrack really, set up how the tires were going to carry you towards the end of the run. And we certainly saw the drivers, rise to the top that were able to do that. And then before I kick this over back to you, want to say thank you again, to Bobby Anderson, all the sponsors, partners, and for having the opportunity to be up here with you. It's an honor, and I look forward to doing this with you every time we get the opportunity.
All right, well, I'm not going to keep you all any longer. They will be back on July 6th here for the full-length Cup Series. Tomorrow will be the Premier Sim Racers Club. I'm not completely sure where they're at. Let me check very quickly. They will be at, and that's not the schedule, they will be at North Wilkesboro tonight or tomorrow in the Truck Series if y'all want to hop over and watch that tomorrow. But I will not keep y'all any longer. I will let you all go.